all because his wife, several months pregnant, had just fallen down the stairs. A second later, blood streamed from between her legs, and she was grimacing in agony. Hearing the commotion, everyone came running. They followed the man's gaze and saw the little girl standing on the staircase. Seeing their angry faces, she instinctively hugged the little bunny in her arms tighter. The family's old patriarch shouted, demanding to know if she had pushed her stepmom down the stairs. The little girl frantically shook her head, denying it. At this, the stepmom tearfully tugged on the old man's sleeve. "Dad, don't blame Subao. She's just a child. Maybe she didn't mean to." The next moment, her father, Linfun, ordered the maids to lock Subao in the small attic, and that he would deal with her when he got back from the hospital. He then went to help his wife up, completely ignoring his daughter repeatedly crying out behind him, "I didn't push her, Auntie." But even if she screamed until her throat was raw, no one believed her. In that moment, only her stepmom knew the truth. Up in the small attic, Subao didn't cry or throw a tantrum. It was cold and dark with no heating, but her face was set with stubbornness. She wrapped her arms around herself, shivering, and whispered, "Mama, Subao didn't do anything wrong." Subao won't admit to it. The next morning, her father dragged her out and threw her into the snow outside. He stood at a distance, holding the wooden rod, and watched his daughter. The biting cold made little Subao shiver uncontrollably. She looked at her father and told him she was hungry and cold. But Linfun just brought the rod down on her. "You killed the baby in Qingxin's belly and you have the nerve to complain? How could I have such a wicked daughter?" The cold wood struck Subao's body again and again, but Linfun was deaf to her cries of pain. He glared at her and demanded, "Will you admit you were wrong?" Subao covered her head with her small hands and denied it again. "It wasn't me." Linfun grew even more furious. "Not you? Then did she fall on her own? What good would that do her?" He thought about how his wife had been hemorrhaging and had been issued 2 critical condition notices at the hospital. Even then, she had told him not to blame Subao, that she was just a child, afraid she wouldn't be loved after her little brother was born, and hadn't pushed her on purpose. The more he thought, the angrier he got. And here she was, still making excuses. He raised the rod again and brought it down, asking her with each strike if she would confess, if she would stop lying. He was so caught up in the beating that he didn't even notice his phone fall out of his pocket. He only stopped when Subao was lying motionless on the ground. "You can get up when your auntie gets out of the hospital," he spat, before turning and walking away. He threw the rod aside, muttering, "The company is in trouble and I can't fix it. Now my wife has a miscarriage. What terrible luck." Barely conscious, Subao tried to crawl. But she was too badly injured and collapsed back into the snow with a soft thud. She thought she might be dying. If she died, would she get to be with her mama? Just then, a voice echoed in her ear. "Little Subao, hurry, call your youngest uncle." She managed to force her eyes open and saw a cell phone in the snow. The will to live pushed her to crawl toward it, bit by bit. She could faintly hear the invisible person's voice telling her that her uncle's name was Su Yisheng. As the voice recited a phone number, Subao dialed. Meanwhile, in a traditional courtyard house in Kyoto, a group of people was gathered around a table, listening to the family patriarch lecture Su Yisheng, telling him he absolutely had to get his attending physician certification this year. Su Yisheng sheepishly rubbed his nose. Suddenly, the old man changed the subject, asking his 8 sons why, after 4 years of searching, they still hadn't found their sister. The relaxed mood vanished instantly. Everyone fell silent. She had been diagnosed with leukemia as a child. 4 years ago, the illness had affected her mind, and her memory had somehow disappeared. He didn't know if she was dead or alive. Beside him, Su Yisheng was filled with guilt. If it weren't for him, his sister wouldn't have gone missing. For 4 years, self-blame and regret had tormented him. Seeing this, the eldest son, Su Yichen, who was sitting to the old man's right, quickly tried to comfort him. "You were in the middle of saving a critical patient that day. How can we blame you for what happened to our sister?" For years, a heavy weight had been pressing down on everyone in the Su family, making it hard to breathe. Just then, Su Yisheng's phone rang, shattering the heavy silence. He panicked. The old man had a rule: no phones on during meetings, especially not in a tense atmosphere like this. He was about to hang up when the old man, furious, slammed his teacup down and ordered Su Yisheng to put the call on speaker. He wanted to see what was so important. The 3rd and 4th brothers shot Su Yisheng a sympathetic look. With no other choice, Su Yisheng answered the call and put it on speaker. Tiny voice came through the phone. "Is this my uncle? I'm Subao. My mama is Su Jinyu. Are you my uncle, Dr. Su?" At those words, the pen in the old man's hand fell with a clatter. They could hear the faint, intermittent voice on the other end say, "Uncle, Subao is so cold and hungry. Subao didn't push Auntie, but they don't believe me. Daddy made Subao kneel outside, but it's so cold. Uncle, can you come get me?" Toward the end, The little girl's voice grew weaker and weaker. Dr. Su realized something was wrong and quickly asked where she was. But the line went dead. There was no response. Seeing this, old Master Su shot to his feet in a panic, telling them to immediately trace the number and find its location. On the other side, after some time had passed, Linfun came out looking for his phone. He saw Subao lying motionless and kicked her with his foot. "It'd be for the best if you died," he said irritably. He secretly regretted taking in that female beggar 4 years ago. The thought of it now disgusted him. Linfun picked up his phone and started making a call as he walked away. His company was in big trouble recently, and he was asking the person on the other end if they knew anyone from the Su family in Kyoto. As dusk fell, she woke up again, tears frozen on her cheeks. "Daddy doesn't like Subao. Does Uncle not want Subao either? Nobody in the world likes me." She hadn't cried when her father beat her so hard, but now tears filled her eyes. She was afraid that if she died, Mama would see her like this and not want her either. Just as she was fading in and out of consciousness, she heard a rumbling sound. Soon the Lin family's main gate was kicked open. When the butler saw strangers breaking in, he tried to stop them. But a single warning glare from Su Yichen nearly made him wet himself. Su Yisheng, remembering Subao had said she was kneeling by the door, looked around and saw a small mound of snow. He bolted towards it. "Subao, wake up, your uncle is here." Su Yisheng took off his coat and wrapped it around Subao. He saw she was only wearing a thin, tattered piece of clothing, and her little face was purple from the cold. His eyes filled with pain as he cradled her in his arms. The moment he saw her, he knew. This was the child of their most cherished, most beloved little sister. Perhaps feeling the warmth, Subao managed to open her eyes. His face looked a little like her mama's. She mumbled, "Are you my uncle? I didn't push anyone." And then she lost consciousness again. Dr. Su's voice choked with emotion. He held her carefully, trying not to jostle her, and ran toward the car, ignoring the butler shouting behind him. Seeing them about to put Subao in the car, the butler chased after them, only to be shoved to the ground by Su Yichen. As they were about to leave, the butler yelled, "Do you have any idea whose house this is? I'm going to tell Mr. Lin." Su Yichen couldn't be bothered with such trash. He asked about Subao's condition. Su Yisheng said urgently, "To the hospital now." When Linfun heard the butler's report, he was ready to see who dared to cause trouble at his home. But then he saw Su Yichen's car drive past him. He recognized the man inside. Although he'd never met him in person, he followed the financial news, and the man looked just like he did on TV. Linfun had been racking his brain trying to figure out how to connect with the Su family, and now Su Yichen had just shown up at his house. He rushed over to greet him. Su Yichen stared coldly at the man before him. So this was Subao's father. Outside the car, the three of them were beaming with enthusiastic smiles, spouting a stream of compliments, nearly bowing at a 90-degree angle. Despite this, Su Yichen's face remained expressionless. He coldly dropped a single sentence, "The Lin family. Very good," and then drove off. The three people left behind stood there, stunned, confused, and terrified. Linfun sensed something was wrong and quickly called the butler over to ask what had happened. The butler, panicked, said, "They took Subao away. They said they were her uncles." The words hit Linfun like a bolt of lightning. Did that mean the beggar he had picked up 4 years ago was the Su family's most precious daughter? After learning that Kyoto's wealthiest man, Su Yichen, was Subao's eldest uncle, old Mrs. Lin was so shocked she could barely speak, telling Linfun to hurry up and bring Subao back. If they had known, how could they have let Subao kneel in the snow? Linfun yelled in frustration. "How are we supposed to get her back? Do you think we can just bring her back whenever we want?" He felt that no matter what, they were Subao's relatives. Linfun had just been a little too harsh while disciplining her. As long as they explained things clearly, the Lin family's fortune was all but guaranteed. Linfun nodded in agreement. Meanwhile, outside the VIP operating room at South City Hospital, old Master Su paced anxiously with his cane while the others waited for news. After 3 long hours, Dr. Su emerged from the operating room with a grim face. He handed a report to Su Yichen. "Her arms, legs, and ribs are all fractured. She's covered in frostbite. The severe parts might have to be amputated. How could they do that to such a small child?" "I'm going to destroy Linfun," one of them seethed, grinding his teeth. Seeing this, Su Yichen said coldly, "The Lin family's products were found to be involved in smuggling. The company is already in crisis. They've been trying to pull strings, hoping our family would help them." Old Master Su sneered. "They should be thanking their lucky stars we don't kill them, and they expect our help?" Dr. Su asked, "Why did they hit Subao?" Su Yichen explained everything he had found out. Furious, Su Yisheng turned to leave, but not before telling them that Subao had been moved to a ward. Just then, an assistant ran over to report that the Lin family had arrived and wanted to see their granddaughter. Su Yichen said impassively, "Inform the hospital to turn off the heat in their area, open the windows, and let them wait." At that moment, in the hospital room, it was as if someone was calling out to Subao. "Subao, Subao, little Subao, wake up!" Her eyelashes fluttered, and she slowly opened her eyes, murmuring, "Who is it?" Seeing this, everyone by the bed gathered around. Su Yisheng was the most excited and spoke first. "Subao, you're awake. I'm your youngest uncle." Subao looked at Su Yisheng, her mind a blank, and asked weakly, "Uncle, are you here to take me home?" Old Master Su's voice was thick with emotion. "We're here to take Subao home. No one will ever bully you again." Subao looked at them. Seeing her silence, Su Yisheng stroked her hair tenderly. "Subao, tell your uncle, what's your full name?" "Daddy said it was too much trouble to give me a name. He said he'd wait until my little brother was born. Subao is the name Mama gave me." Dr. Su felt a sharp pain in his heart. A child without even a proper name. What kind of life had she been living at the Lins? He suppressed his anger and held Subao's hand. "Then tell your uncle. What were you just thinking about?" Subao asked nervously, "Uncle, if I go home, will I have food to eat? Will you hit me?" Her words stunned everyone in the room. She was worried about whether she would have food to eat at home. Those two short sentences once again sent the Su family into a rage. Su Yisheng pressed Subao's little hand to his cheek. "When Subao comes home, you can eat whatever you want and no one will ever hit you. Look, you have so many uncles, and they will all protect you." He then began to introduce them one by one. "This is your eldest uncle, Su Yichen, the current CEO of Su Corporation. You can ask him for anything you want in the future. This is your second uncle, Su Zilin, a very talented architect. This is your third uncle, Su Yuefe, the best pilot at S Airlines. He can take you on a plane sometime. This is your fourth uncle, Su Luo, a famous list actor. This proud-looking one is your fifth uncle, Su Yinger, a construction foreman." Su Yinger shot back, looking very displeased. "I'm the head of a major infrastructure company. Fifth brother, don't be mad. I was just trying to make it easier for Subao to understand. This is your sixth uncle, Su Jingmo, a leading scientist in a lithography machine lab. And this is your seventh uncle, Su Yunchao. He's a secret agent who protects the country. Subao, you have to help keep your seventh uncle's identity a secret, okay?" Su Yunchao made a shh gesture. "And this is your grandpa. Grandpa is very strict, so Subao has to be a good girl." Old Master Su wiped a tear from his eye. Not strict at all. Our Subao is a good girl." Subao looked at the family surrounding her bed. If they knew she had refused to admit she was wrong, would they still like her? She clutched the blanket tightly. "Uncle, I didn't push anyone. Daddy and Grandpa wanted me to admit I was wrong, but I wouldn't." "Your big uncle believes you. You were right not to admit it," Su Yichen said, and the others all chimed in with their agreement. Hearing their words, Subao's lip trembled and she burst into tears. "Uncles, Grandpa, thank you for believing Subao." She sobbed and sobbed. The group of grown men who had never raised a child panicked. After Subao cried herself to sleep, Old Master Su stayed with her while Su Yishin called his brothers out of the room. "I found news about our little sister. I didn't say anything earlier because I was afraid Dad couldn't handle it." Hearing this, the brothers all looked at him nervously. 4 years ago, after our sister got sick and lost her memory, she somehow ended up in South City and was taken in by a passing Linfun. Not long after, she was in critical condition while giving birth and almost didn't make it. Perhaps because of the child, she held on for 2 more years before she passed away from her illness. After hearing their brother's findings, the thought that their precious little sister had died like that, and that the Lin family had abused Subao so horribly, filled them all with a rage so intense they wanted to tear Linfeng limb from limb. Just then, the usually calm and composed Su Yichen rolled up his sleeves. 8 against 1. You think that's enough?" At his words, the Su brothers' eyes lit up and they all began cracking their knuckles. Seeing this, the gentle pilot, Su Yuefe, stopped them. "This is a society of laws. We can't just openly beat someone up." The next second, however, he stopped a passing nurse and asked if their department had any burlap sacks. The nurse was taken aback. "We have woven plastic sacks, but cardboard boxes would be better for packing things." Su Yuefe smiled. "Thank you. The plastic sacks will be fine." He turned back to his brothers and gave them a thumbs up. "Done. If we're going to beat him, of course we have to put a sack over his head first." Linfun was walking through the underground parking garage. He was on the phone as he walked, completely unaware that someone was targeting him from behind. The next moment, a plastic sack was thrown over his head. Before he could react, a barrage of wooden sticks rained down on him. He screamed, "What are you doing? Who are you?" When Linfun yelled, "Do you know who I am?" Su Yichen raised a hand, signaling them to stop. Linfun thought they were scared. But just then, a wooden stick came crashing down on him. While Linfun was being beaten senseless, Subao was being gently woken by a voice. She opened her eyes and heard the same invisible person from before. "Who are you?" Subao clutched the bedsheet, nervously looking in the direction of the voice. The voice continued to coax her. "I'm your master. Call me master." "I don't have a master, and my name is Subao, not little Subao," she corrected him sullenly. He looked at Subao and clicked his tongue. This kid wasn't easy to fool. But he persisted, explaining that her mother, while she was still alive, had given Subao to him to be his disciple. Afraid she wouldn't believe him, he even mentioned Su Jinyu's name. Subao looked at the empty stool. "Mama would never give me to you. If you're my master, why can't I see you?" The man was speechless. This little girl was sharp. But he continued on his own. "My name is Ji Chang. I was a big deal when I was alive. When you get better, light 3 sticks of incense, offer a piece of pork, and once the ceremony is complete, you'll be able to see me." Subao looked at him with a head full of question marks. Someone was actually named Ji Chang. She never thought a big shot could die, and after dying, still want to be someone's master. The next moment, she lowered her head slightly. "If you're really my master, why didn't you take care of me?" After her mama died, no one cared if she was beaten or starving. Ji Chang quickly reminded her, "Did you forget? I helped you 2 days ago when I told you to call your uncle. I was right there. If you hadn't been on the verge of death, I wouldn't have been able to speak to you even now. But from now on, your master can protect you." As he spoke, he tied a red string around her wrist. "Take this as a welcome gift from your master." Subao felt a slight warmth as a red string appeared on her wrist. Before she could react, she heard Ji Chang hurriedly say, "You get some rest, and goodbye." Subao only had time to call out, "Ji Chang." Just then, Su Yisheng pushed the door open. "Ji Chang, is Subao hungry? Your uncle brought you breakfast." But as soon as Su Yisheng opened the food container, Su Yinger squeezed in. "Subao, the beef chow mein is delicious. Eat your 5th uncle's." Old Master Su whacked him on the calf with his cane. Chow mein, chow mein. Subao just woke up. How can she eat something so greasy?" He then picked up some rice noodle rolls with a smile. "Subao, want to have some rice noodle rolls first? They're really soft and delicious." At that moment, Su Weifei also walked in. "Subao, it's better to have some porridge first to warm you up." Subao looked at the men standing by her bed, and for some reason her nose started to get tingly, and she felt like crying again. Did she have a family now? "Grandpa, I want to eat the rice noodle rolls," she said cautiously. And so the victorious old Master Su fed Subao bite by bite. The scene reminded Su Yisheng of when Su Jinyu was a child. During a checkup, the doctor was amazed. Such severe injuries had healed completely in just 10 days. With a clean bill of health, she could be discharged today. While packing, Subao asked Su Yisheng if he had seen her little bunny. Dr. Su was a bit confused. Was she talking about that tattered thing in the snowdrift? "Subao, the little bunny is gone. Can your uncle buy you a new one?" "But that was what Mama left for me." As she said this, tears started to fall. Just then, Su Yichin walked in and saw the scene, assuming Su Yisheng had made her cry. Seeing his big brother's fierce expression, Su Yisheng had no choice but to explain. After understanding the situation, Su Yichin knelt down and took Subao's hand. "Your big uncle will help you find your little bunny." Subao wanted to go with him. Besides the bunny, she had another very important friend. Meanwhile, at the Lin's house, Linfun, who had just been discharged from the hospital, sat on the sofa with a limp. The house was a mess. All the valuables had been taken away because he had failed to repay a high-interest loan. Listening to his mother's endless crying and nagging, Linfun roared in frustration, "Stop it!" Just then, Mu Qingxian came downstairs holding Subao's little bunny. "Dad, Mom, Feng, Subao will definitely come back. As long as Subao returned, her uncles would follow, and then their company would be saved." Linfeng's face lit up. He promised Mu Qingxian that once they got back on their feet, he would make it up to her. She was secretly glad she had miscarried, so she wouldn't be tied to the sinking ship that was the Lin family. Then, she could latch on to one of Subao's 8 uncles, and she'd be set for life. Just then, several Maybachs pulled up in front of the Lin family's villa. 8 tall, handsome men got out of the cars. The Lin family, who had been waiting by the door, eagerly went to greet them, but they were completely ignored. Linfun put on a smile and apologized to Subao, hoping she would forgive him, but he still emphasized that he had done it for her own good and had just been a bit too heavy-handed in his haste. Su Yinger, standing behind Linfun, secretly regretted that he had been too easy on him the other day. He considered whether he should cripple him later. Subao was already hiding behind Su Yisheng, who said coldly, "Cut the crap. Get Subao's bunny." Old Mrs. Lin quickly explained, "That little bunny was broken." Her auntie is sewing it up for her. It's cold outside. Why don't you all come in? The next second, Su Yichen gave a signal and several bodyguards rushed in. In no time, they had found the little bunny. A hint of joy appeared on Subao's face. She took the bunny and then said to Su Yisheng, "Uncle, can you come with me to the woods?" Su Yisheng immediately agreed. The two of them went to the backyard. At Subao's call, a colorful parrot flew towards her. But who would have thought it suddenly braked midair, turned around and flew away? "Uncle, I think Xiaowu is afraid of you. Subao, how about I have someone catch it for us? We can just take Xiaowu home." Subao shook her head. She didn't want to scare Xiaowu. Su Yisheng looked down at the little girl. Whatever Subao said, he would just nod along. The next second, a voice echoed from the woods. "Idiot! Idiot!" Subao immediately shouted at the bird, "Xiaowu, my uncle is not an idiot!" Just then, Mu Qingxin, who had been hiding in the woods, finally saw her chance. Seeing those familiar eyes, Subao shivered in fear. The next moment, Mu Qingxin grabbed Subao by the arm. Fearing she would scream, she quickly clamped a hand over Subao's mouth and smiled sweetly. "Subao, why aren't you happy to see Auntie?" She pressed down on Subao's head and said with a smile, "Auntie's baby is gone now, so Subao has to take responsibility. If your uncles ask, you have to say you pushed me, and you have to put in a good word for Auntie, understand?" Subao bit down hard on Mu Qingxin's hand, causing her to squeal like a pig. She raised her hand to slap Subao, but the next second she was sent flying. Dr. Su was stunned. He hadn't even used any force, so how did that crazy woman get kicked away? Subao looked at Su Yisheng in confusion. Did she just send her auntie flying, or did her uncle kick her? Su Yisheng walked over with a grim face. "You dare hit Subao? Mr. Su, it's a misunderstanding. I'm practically Subao's mother, how could I hit her?" Mu Qingxin panicked. Seeing her still trying to argue, Su Yisheng stepped on her face. "Mother? You think you're worthy of being Subao's mother?" Mu Qingxin wanted to explain further, but before she could speak, Su Yisheng ground his shoe on her face, followed by a swift side kick that sent her sprawling to the ground. "Beating an idiot! Beating an idiot!" The parrot on the tree flew over and squawked at Mu Qingxin. After chasing Mu Qingxin away, Su Yisheng stayed with Subao to continue tricking the bird. "Little parrot, come down, I'll give you some meat. No meat, no meat, meat makes you fat." Seeing it wasn't falling for it, he grabbed Subao and started to run, deciding to use his secret weapon. "Subao, let's go. Ignore it." But Subao took him seriously. Her voice choked as she begged him not to leave Xiaowu behind. Seeing this, Su Yisheng's heart skipped a beat, and he quickly apologized to her. Hearing her uncle say sorry, Subao was stunned. It was always her saying sorry to others. No one had ever told her it was okay. Suddenly, she smiled at Su Yisheng. "It's okay, uncle. Xiaowu will definitely come down. Let's do it together." So, when the others came to the backyard, this is the scene they saw. "Xiaowu, I'm sorry. Please come down. When we get back to Kyoto, the estate is huge. We can even find you a girlfriend." After figuring out what was going on, Su Yinger laughed. "I'm impressed, old eighth. You can't even coax a parrot down." "Useless, Su Yisheng. Number 8, 1,000-year-old turtle. Number 8, loves to eat poop," the parrot sang smugly. Furious, Su Yisheng said to Su Yinger, "You're so good you do it." So Su Yinger raised his arm and promised Subao he could definitely coax the parrot down. Then he let out a series of clucking sounds like he was calling free-range chickens to come eat. Sulo and Su Wefei's mouths twitched. The parrot on the tree responded in perfect human language. "Idiot! Idiot!" The hot-tempered Su Yinger lost it. "You little... Get down here! No way! No way! Don't try to trick your grandpa." This pushed Su Yinger to the brink of a breakdown. This parrot had to be possessed. Seeing this, Subao covered her mouth and giggled. She thought her fifth uncle looked fierce, like he was breathing fire, but he wasn't fierce at all. She then secretly sized up the other three. Her youngest uncle and third uncle were warm like the sun. Her fourth uncle looked like a major villain. Suddenly, Subao's eyes met Sulo's, and she quickly turned her head, pretending nothing had happened. A smile played on Sulo's lips. The little one was so timid. He then turned to Su Yinger and told him to stop wasting his energy. It was obvious that only Subao could coax this parrot down. Finally, the four of them stepped back to give Subao space. But all Subao did was look cute, and Xiaowu's heart melted. It flapped its wings and flew towards her. Suddenly, a voice called out, "So, my uncles-in-law are here!" The startled parrot flew away again. Subao, who had just relaxed, saw the newcomer and instinctively hid behind Su Yisheng. Hearing that they were going to use a tranquilizer gun to shoot the parrot down, Subao panicked. Su Yisheng coldly told them to leave and that their help wasn't needed. Seeing that Linfun wasn't getting the hint, Su Yinger stepped forward, ready to slap him. Su Yichen was even more direct. "Just one motion, throw them all out." The black-clad bodyguards dragged them out one by one. With the Lin family gone, Subao tempted Xiaowu with a slice of apple, reassuring it that her uncles weren't bad people. If you don't come down now, you might never see Subao again. At this, Xiaowu swooped down and landed on Su Yisheng's head. Before he could react, Su Yisheng grabbed it with a swift motion. Help! Help! Don't touch me! Don't touch me! Outside the villa, Linfun saw them coming out and said with a smile, So Subao likes parrots? Daddy will buy you lots and lots of parrots in the future, okay? Subao lowered her head. I don't want Daddy to buy me parrots, and I don't want a daddy anymore. Linfun couldn't help but scowl. Subao, how can you say that to your father? He was about to lose his temper when Su Yinger grabbed him by the collar and slammed him against the villa's main gate. In-laws? Who the hell do you think you are? You don't deserve to be Subao's father. Su Yinger slammed Linfung's head against the iron gate with a series of loud thuds, louder than a gong. Seeing this, Su Yisheng immediately scooped up Subao and walked away, calling back to Su Yinger, We'll wait for you in the car. After getting his fill of beating, Su Yinger sent a flying kick toward Linfun, directly revoking his qualifications to be a father. You piece of trash. Since you can't be a good dad, then don't be a dad at all. He then snorted, clapped his hands, and turned to leave. Anyone who betrays my little sister will be punished no matter how far they run. Seeing that the Su family had all left, she wanted to call an ambulance, but old Mr. Lin stopped her. What money do we have for a doctor now? Our phone service has been cut off. Old Mrs. Lin could only tell Linfun to endure it. It'll stop hurting after this. Just then, a group of people walked in from outside. Well, Mr. Lin, what a lucky day for you. When are you going to pay back the 80 million you owe us? Old Mr. Lin quickly pointed at the departing Su family. Do you know who we are? We're related to the Su family of Kyoto. The only response he got was the exhaust from the Su family's car as it drove away. The blonde debt collector chuckled and gave a signal. His lackeys rushed forward. If you can't pay up, you can use the house to cover it. You all can get lost. Your family deserves to end up like this. Meanwhile, Su Yichen was tapping away on his phone. Take care of the Lin family. The reply came back. Kill them? No. Make them wish they were dead. In the back seat, Subao held her beloved bunny in one arm and the parrot in the other. Old Master Su said kindly, Subao, we're going home now. Grandpa, can we bring Mama's ashes home too? Old Master Su's heart ached as he nodded. We'll all go home together. Now Subao was happy. They could finally bring Mama home. The group then boarded the Su family's private jet. Subao looked out at the sky with curiosity. Su Yuefei smiled gently. What are you looking at, Subao? Third uncle? Are we flying in the sky right now? He nodded. But then she suddenly asked, Is Mama here? The two people behind her froze. Then they heard her whisper, They said Mama died and went to heaven. Will we be able to see her soon? Her words silenced everyone. They all turned to look out the window. Dr. Su took Subao into his arms. Subao, go to sleep. You can see Mama in your dreams when you're asleep. Subao hummed in agreement and closed her eyes. She knew her uncle was tricking her. She had fallen asleep many, many times, but she had never once seen her Mama. At that moment, the red string on Subao's wrist glowed faintly. In her dream, Subao felt warm all over again, surrounded by clouds that looked like cotton candy. She plucked a piece and put it in her mouth. Her eyes lit up. It was sweet. Then a gentle, familiar voice came from behind her. Subao. Subao turned around, her eyes wide. Her Mama was standing not far behind her, looking at her with tears in her eyes. Subao rushed forward and was held tightly in her mother's arms. Subao, be good. From now on, Grandpa and your uncles are your family. You have to be happy, okay? Tears streamed down Subao's face. I know, Mama. Su Jinyu stroked Subao's head. Also, Grandma isn't well. Can Subao be a good girl and take care of Grandma for Mama? Subao nodded repeatedly. Then Su Jinyu's body began to glow faintly, slowly turning transparent. Subao, Mama loves you. I'll always love you. Sleeping Subao murmured in her sleep. Mama, Subao loves you too. Just then, Ji-chang appeared beside her. Well, I guess I don't owe your mother anything now. A few hours later, the plane landed at Kyoto International Airport. Seeing that Subao was still asleep, Old Master Su shushed Su Yisheng. Su Yisheng tiptoed out of the plane. Just then, Kidnapper! Kidnapper! A parrot with a chain on its leg spread its wings and screeched. Subao's eyes snapped open. Dr. Su gently patted her head. Honey, we're in Kyoto. We're going home now. Outside the airport, 4 Rolls-Royces were parked neatly in a row. Seeing the spectacle, passers-by took out their phones and started snapping pictures. 8 tall, imposing men walked out, led by an elderly man. One of the men was holding a little girl. On his shoulder sat a parrot, currently singing excitedly, Broke ha-ha, yakshasha, Harry Potter on a broomstick flying, sorry, sorry. Seeing them all get into the luxury cars, everyone shed tears of envy. When it came to being born lucky, they had clearly lost. In stark contrast to Subao's treatment, the Lin family's situation was beyond miserable. They were sleeping under a bridge, but even then, they were either being chased away or suddenly beaten up in their sleep. At that moment, Mu Qingxian was scrolling through TikTok and saw a trending video of Subao. Seeing Subao surrounded by her adoring family and the 4 luxury cars, she was filled with jealousy and resentment. Meanwhile, Subao stood outside the gates of the Su family estate and asked Su Yisheng happily, "Uncle, is this Mama's princess castle?" Old Master Su addressed a line of servants. "From now on, Subao is our Su family's little daughter, our little princess. Her last name is Su." He took her hand and led her to see her room. Seeing the beautiful princess room, Subao couldn't believe it was hers. Subao politely thanked her uncle and grandpa. Then, Su Yisheng told her, "When your older cousins get home from school, they can play with you, okay?" Hearing she had cousins, Subao looked confused. "You have 3 older male cousins and 1 older female cousin. They're your first and second uncle's children," Su Yisheng explained briefly. Subao nodded obediently, a hint of anticipation in her eyes. Shortly after Subao arrived at the Su family home, an elegantly dressed woman walked in, holding a little girl's hand. She told the little girl to remember to give a doll to her little cousin Subao when she saw her. The little girl pouted and threw a tantrum. "I won't! All the toys are mine!" She then ran into the estate without a second glance. The woman turned and hurried her son, who was dawdling in the car, reminding him that his cousin Subao was waiting. But Su Zixi just wrinkled his nose. "I don't want another sister. Having Han Han, who always steals my toys and cries at the drop of a hat, is more than enough. I don't want another one." By now, Han Han had run back to her room. She grabbed a doll and slammed it on the floor. Just then, Subao knocked on Han Han's door. She hesitated before calling out, "Big sister, it's Subao. I brought you a present." Han Han threw the door open, nearly knocking Subao over. She put a hand on her hip and said loudly, "Go away, you're annoying. Who wants your stupid stuff?" Old Master Su, drawn by the noise, told Han Han, "Your cousin came to be your friend. It's not right to push people." But she just burst into tears. "Dad, Han Han is still little. She doesn't know any better." Hearing this, Old Master Su snapped, "If she's little, then she needs to be taught. I've told you this more than once. How are you raising your children?" He then took Subao's hand and left. She then comforted Han Han, telling her not to cry and that Mama would buy her a new doll. Meanwhile, Old Master Su took Subao back to her room. The parrot saw Subao and tried to fly to her, but was held back by the chain on its leg. The old man, worried Subao was upset about what had just happened, tried to explain Han Han's behavior. But the sensible little girl ended up comforting him instead, saying she understood how her sister felt, because she didn't like giving her things to others either. Old Master Su sighed. Subao was so young, yet she seemed to understand everything. He patted her head. "Come on, your grandma is back." Downstairs, Suzaline pushed a wheelchair. The woman in it, old Mrs. Su, called out in a trembling voice, "Subao." Looking at the perfect doll-like little girl, Mrs. Su was too choked up to speak. This was Yu Heir's child. She looked exactly like Yu Heir did when she was little. Subao rushed into Mrs. Su's arms. Seeing her grandma cry and remembering her promise to her mama to take care of her, she gently patted her grandma's back. Don't cry, be a good grandma, don't cry." Just then, Han Han, who had finally been calmed down, came out and saw them all hugging downstairs. She got angry all over again. Then a squawking sound came from Subao's room, like someone singing. Her attention was drawn and she ran towards Subao's room. She opened the door and her eyes lit up. It was a parrot. Without a second thought, she ran in to try and catch it. Xiaowu flapped its wings in a panic. "A brat is here, help me, help me!" Wei Wan frowned at the words. What an ill-mannered parrot. The next second, she saw Han Han with her hands wrapped around the parrot's neck. Wei Wan quickly told her that Mama would buy her another one, but Han Han threw a tantrum, refusing. She wanted this one. The terrified Xiaowu finally broke free and squawked loudly, "Help! Help! They're gonna cook me!" The commotion was so loud that the people downstairs heard it. By the time Subao rushed to her room, the scene she saw made her furious. Han Han was grabbing Xiaowu and shaking it back and forth. "You won't listen! I'll hit you! Hit you!" The parrot could only let out pitiful cries. Subao rushed forward. "You can't hit Xiaowu!" But Han Han just shoved her away and yelled, "It's mine! The parrot is mine!" Now Subao was truly angry. She grabbed Han Han and pushed her hard to the ground. "Xiaowu is my friend, not yours." Han Han couldn't beat Subao, so she burst into earth-shattering sobs. Wei Wan held Han Han and scolded Subao with a dark face. "How could you hit someone? If you didn't want to give the parrot to your sister, you could have just said so." Subao's eyes filled with tears, but she stubbornly clenched her fists. Sister hit me first! Wei Wan grew even angrier. She hit you, so you have to hit back. Don't you know that children should be gentle and polite? Enough. Old Master Su's roar cut Wei Wan off. Have you taught Han Han to be gentle and polite? She was the one who tried to steal Subao's parrot and hit her first, yet you're criticizing Subao? Wei Wan saw that everyone was concerned about Subao, while no one cared about Han Han. Heartbroken, she grabbed Han Han and stormed off. Seeing her leave in a huff, Old Master Su was furious. So I can't even say anything to her now? Doesn't she realize what the problem is? Su Zilin had no choice but to calm his father down, saying he would handle it. Seeing that Subao was still upset, the old man decided to let it go for now and went to comfort her. Subao was holding the motionless Xiao Wu, not saying a word, her eyes brimming with tears. Meanwhile, in Han Han's room, Wei Wan saw that her precious daughter's arm was scratched and started yelling at Su Zilin. What kind of father was he? It was clearly Han Han who was bullied, her arm was bleeding. Su Zilin replied coldly, if she hadn't tried to take someone else's things, would she have been hit? I've let a lot of things slide in the past, but my patience has a limit. Hearing Han Han cry even louder, he turned and walked out in frustration. Wei Wan felt completely heartbroken. What had she done wrong? Was it wrong to care about her own child? Why was everyone targeting her and Han Han? After leaving the room, Su Zilin saw Su Yichen waiting for him at the door. Su Yichen said to him in a low voice, Second brother, you should resolve this matter soon. I know. I'm just worried about how a divorce will affect the children. Su Yichen nodded and turned to leave. You need to think it through yourself. Just a short while ago, everyone had been peacefully sitting together, trying to come up with a name for Subao. Since everyone called her by her nickname, Subao, old Mrs. Su lovingly stroked her hair and asked if she wanted to take her mother's last name, Su. Subao nodded happily. Old Master Su stroked his chin. What should we call her? The next moment, Subao raised her little hand. Subao! Everyone had to stifle their laughter. Su Yisheng's suggestion was even simpler. Su. Subao threw up her hands and shook her head. Old Master Su suggested they not rush the name and think about it more. He then asked Subao if she was 3.5. Subao thought for a moment. It seemed her mama had told her she had popped out on March 15th, Consumer Rights Day. Old Mrs. Su was the quickest to react. March 15th? Isn't that in a week? She proposed they throw Subao a birthday party and buy her a huge cake. Subao's eyes lit up. She was going to have a big cake. Just then, Han Han, who was sitting across from Subao, shot up and yelled that she didn't want to eat with Subao. The 3 little boys sitting nearby all rolled their eyes in unison. This was why they didn't like their sister. Wei Wan quickly asked Han Han what was wrong. Han Han threw her food on the table and cried that she just didn't want to eat with her cousin. Subao frowned at Han Han. She still remembered how Han Han had nearly choked Xiao Wu to death. Suddenly, old Master Su roared, If you don't want to eat, then leave. Who told you you could throw your bowl? Second brother, how are you raising this child? Seeing her grandpa so fierce, Han Han looked to her mother for help. But the next second, Su Zilin silently picked her up and started walking out. Wei Wan quickly followed, took Han Han from him, and went straight back to their room. Just then, Han Han's maternal grandmother video called. After hearing Wei Wan's side of the story, she said angrily, See, I told you. Before, Han Han was the only girl in the Su family, so she was treated like a princess. Now that this little girl is here, they won't dote on Han Han anymore. Wei Wan's heart ached. She quickly told her mother to stop. But Han Han's grandmother glared and continued, And you don't even know how wild that little girl is. When she was in South City, she pushed her stepmom down the stairs and caused a miscarriage. Her uncles covered for her and even bankrupted the Lin family. Afraid Wei Wan wouldn't believe her, she sent her a link to an online exposé. As Wei Wan watched the video, she felt disgusted. How could the Su family take in a child like that? A week later, on the day of Subao's birthday party, the Su family invited many high society figures to formally introduce Subao. At that moment, a ghost that no one else could see quietly appeared at the scene. Ji-chang secretly moved his fingers, and Subao's beautiful dress began to sparkle with little lights, like a starry sky, making the little girl look like a fairy on earth. Meanwhile, Han Han stood on the second floor, watching Subao being showered with attention. Her maternal grandmother, seeing her chance, added fuel to the fire. Look at that. It's a limited edition. If it weren't for Subao, that beautiful dress would be ours, Han Han. Han Han immediately turned to Wei Wan and said she wanted that dress too. Wei Wan could only comfort her, saying they would go buy one when they had time. But Han Han wouldn't have it. She wanted that one, because her grandma had said that dress was originally hers. She then bolted downstairs. If you won't give it to me, I'll take it myself. Wei Wan could only chase after her anxiously. In the garden, Subao was happily getting ready to cut her cake and share it with the other children. But she handed the first piece to Soo-hyun. After all, he was the oldest brother, but Soo-hyun didn't even look at it and refused. The ghost Ji-chang thought Subao would be upset and was about to teach her a little trick for her birthday, but the little girl was just happily eating her cake. Just then, Han rushed over and lunged at Subao. She grabbed Subao's dress, tearing at it while crying, "This dress is mine! Give it back!" Subao was pushed and nearly fell, but she still tried to reason with her. "My big uncle gave me this dress." Before she could finish, Han slapped her across the face. "It's mine! It's mine!" That did it. Subao wasn't going to put up with it anymore. She raised her hand and slapped Han back. Han covered her face, stunned that Subao would dare to hit her. She balled her fist to hit back, but Soo-hyun grabbed her hand. He then looked at Subao and asked if she was okay. Subao shook her head. But Han's shrill cries had drawn the attention of the adults, who were now wondering why the two little princesses of the Soo family were fighting. Just then, Wei-wan ran over and angrily demanded of Subao, "How could you hit your big sister?" Subao clutched her dress and said, "She hit me first." "Nonsense, your sister would never hit anyone." Even Soo-hyun couldn't listen to this anymore. He said coldly, "Second aunt, Han did hit her first. If you don't believe me, just ask someone else." At this, Han lost it, screaming that Subao had stolen her dress and hit her, that Subao was a bad kid. Hearing this, the surrounding guests began to murmur, guessing that the online rumors were probably true. Suddenly, Wei-wan pointed at a little girl named Heir. "You tell us who hit first." The girl was clearly startled. Her eyes darted around before she said, "Subao hit Han first." Soo-hyun frowned, his sharp gaze fixed on Heir, telling her to say it again. Seeing Heir's helpless expression, some of the guests spoke up. "Heir is just telling the truth. You'll scare her like that. And if you keep spoiling her, Miss Subao will be ruined." Listening to the accusations, Subao clenched her fists and insisted, "I didn't do anything wrong. She's lying. My big uncle bought me the dress and Han hit me first." Before she could finish, Wei-wan cut her off. "Enough! You clearly hit her first. What more is there to say?" Just then, Soo Yi-chen and Old Master Soo walked over. "You say Subao hit first. Did you see it with your own eyes?" Soo Yi-chen said coldly. She said firmly, Han might be a bit spoiled sometimes, but she doesn't hit people." "You don't know whether she hits people or not?" Old Master Soo retorted. What had Han done wrong? Soo Yi-chen turned to the butler behind him. "Uncle Nee, go get the surveillance footage from the yard." Wei-wan froze. She began to tremble with anger. They were going to check the surveillance footage? Were they really trying to push Han to her breaking point? Soon, Uncle Nee set up a projector and pressed play. Everything that had just happened in the garden played out for everyone to see. The guests were in disbelief. It really was Miss Han who had started it. But hadn't the little girl Heir just said that Miss Subao had hit first? Seeing her lie exposed, Heir was on the verge of tears and hid behind her mother. Heir's mother explained awkwardly that her child must have misremembered. At this point, Wei-wan clenched her fists and asked Soo Yi-chen why he had to do this. Han was so young. What would this do to her pride? How big would the psychological scar be? Soo Yi-chen couldn't be bothered to argue with her anymore. He looked at Han. "Do you think what you did was right? What should you say to your cousin?" Han instinctively glanced at Subao and found Subao looking back at her. Han vaguely realized she was wrong, but she held back her tears and whispered that she didn't want to apologize. Wei-wan's heart ached for her. How could they criticize a child in public? But before she could say anything, Soo Zealand shot her a cold look. "You'd better shut up, or we're signing the papers as soon as we get home." Meanwhile, Subao watched Han from a distance. She felt that her sister wasn't actually a bad person. Just then, Soo Yi-sheng gently patted Han's head and asked softly, Han, why did you hit Subao?" "I wanted the dress. It's my dress. If my cousin wasn't here, all of this would be mine," Han said, her voice choked with tears. Han's maternal grandmother quickly tried to stop her from saying more, laughing it off. "Look at this child. If you want something, you should just tell us. It's just a dress. If Subao likes it, she can have it. Our Han is just being naughty." Soo Yi-sheng turned to her angrily. "What do you mean, if Subao likes it, she can have it? Did you tell Han this dress was hers?" Behind them, Soo Yi-chen whispered something to Uncle Nee, who then handed him a folder. He opened a document. "This is the order form for the Starry Sky dress. It was custom-made to Subao's measurements. Han wouldn't even be able to fit into this dress, so it was always meant for Subao." The two children were clearly different sizes. Subao was small and slender, while Han was a bit bigger. Hearing the murmurs, Wei-wan's face burned with humiliation. She retorted, "I never said this dress was Han's. I just said that Subao had one and Han didn't, which is why Han threw a tantrum. Su Yichen coldly flipped to the next page. Subao has a custom starry sky dress. And of course, Han does too. This page has the details for Han's dress. Someone with sharp eyes noticed that Han's dress was actually 500,000 yuan more expensive than Subao's. The conversation immediately shifted. The child was just being naughty. An adult must have told her the dress was hers. They wondered what kind of mother was raising the child. Wei Wan felt like her face was on fire. Just then, Su Yisheng said, Han, do you understand now? You have your own dress too. If you want one just like Subao's, your uncles can have one made for you. Han, dazed, replied, I understand. She walked over to Subao and sincerely said, I'm sorry. Subao happily replied, it's okay. Seeing that Han had stopped crying, Old Master Su told Su Huan to take his cousins back inside. He then turned to Wei Wan. You go back and think about what you've done. She turned and left without a word. She muttered that even if Han was wrong, she, as the mother, should be the one to discipline her. What right did they have to do it for her? Besides, Subao had hit her too. Why was only Han getting scolded? The more she thought, the more resentful and wronged she felt. Just then, she saw someone causing a scene at the estate gate. As she got closer, she realized it was Subao's biological father, looking exactly like he did in the online photos. She walked over and told the guard to let them in. The guard hesitated, thinking he should check with the old master first. But Wei Wan pulled rank as the second mistress of the house, and he had no choice but to obey. Meanwhile, after the drama, everyone gathered around again to wish Subao a happy birthday. Subao was delighted. It was the first time so many people had celebrated her birthday. She clasped her hands, closed her eyes, and wished for her mama to be happy in heaven, to see her again, for her grandma's health to improve, for her big uncle's business to prosper, and many other wishes that the author won't list for her. Su Yisheng picked up Subao and told her to blow out the candles. She puffed out her cheeks and blew. Just as everyone was about to applaud, a familiar voice called out, Subao! Linfun and Mu Qingxin ran over as if in a 100-meter dash. Happy birthday, Subao! Daddy is late. Your stepmom and I brought you a present. Seeing them, Subao frowned in fear. Old Master Su roared, Who let you in? Get out! Linfun and Mu Qingxin dropped to their knees with a thud. Father-in-law, it was my fault. I shouldn't have been so neglectful of Subao. I lost control because Qingxin lost the baby. I was too rough on Subao. Subao couldn't help but say, Daddy, you're lying. You always hit Subao. Linfun quickly explained that he was just disciplining her. After their back and forth, the guests finally understood that these were Subao's father and stepmother from the online rumors. To show up on a child's birthday like this was clearly a deliberate attempt to cause trouble. Su Yinger said to his older brother, Are we just going to let these people stay? Are we waiting to celebrate New Year's with them? Su Yichen stopped him. If we just throw them out, wouldn't that be letting them off too easy? But Su Yichen confronted Mu Qingxin directly. Are you sure it was Subao who pushed you and caused your miscarriage? Or did you just think that since there were no security cameras in the Lin's house at the time, you could say whatever you wanted? Mu Qingxin pretended not to understand. Just then, at Subao's call, Xiaowu flapped its wings and flew over. Su Yichen then told Xiaowu to repeat what it had heard that day. To everyone's surprise, the parrot perfectly mimicked Mu Qingxin's voice and tone. Auntie is already so pitiful. When your uncles ask you, you'll say you pushed me, you hear me? You're so disobedient. If you keep this up, do you believe I'll hit you? Mu Qingxin wished she could just die. She never thought this damn bird would repeat her words verbatim. The guests were stunned. They all looked at Mu Qingxin, whispering amongst themselves. Could there be more to her miscarriage? Mu Qingxin loudly denied it, saying she had no reason to use her own flesh and blood to frame Subao. It wouldn't benefit her at all. Besides, how could they suspect her based on the words of a parrot? But Su Yichen just said coldly, Not a bad performance. He then gestured for her to look at the screen. Uncle Ni, now a pro at this, set up the projection equipment again. The screen showed a heavily pregnant Mu Qingxin, while Subao, in tattered clothes, stood about 2 feet away, holding her bunny. Mu Qingxin told her to stand there and not move, and Subao obediently agreed. Suddenly, Mu Qingxin threw herself backward, falling down the stairs. Then came the Lin family, who, without asking any questions, immediately started scolding Subao. Seeing the video, Linfun was even more shocked than Mu Qingxin. He repeatedly asked her, Why? You said Subao pushed you. Mu Qingxin had no defense and could only repeat that she didn't remember. Su Yichen calmly took a document from Uncle Ni. You don't remember? Then let me help you remember. He threw a file in Linfeng's face. Your miscarriage was premeditated. The 2 instances of hemorrhaging during the surgery were also fake. This is the disciplinary notice for the doctor who took money to help you forge the records. We have witnesses and evidence. Do you remember now? Mu Qingxin collapsed to the ground, completely exposed. Linfun, finally understanding, was so angry he could have spat blood. Even then, Mu Qingxin refused to admit it, shaking her head and begging Linfun to believe her. Suddenly, the furious Linfun calmed down. He put on an act of being deceived and explained to Subao that he had been tricked, which was why there had been a misunderstanding between them. Su Yichen pointed to the projector. You call beating Subao like this a misunderstanding? The screen flashed with images of Subao being brutally beaten, along with her hospital records, which clearly stated respiratory arrest, shock, multiple fractures, and frostbite all over her body. The guests watched, speechless. This wasn't discipline, this was beating her to death. This wasn't a father, this was a monster. But Su Yichen wasn't done with him. With a continue, Uncle Ni displayed a wanted poster with an official seal. He explained, a year ago, the Lin Corporation was investigated for large-scale smuggling. The police have now confirmed the evidence and issued this official wanted poster. So the Lin family hadn't been bankrupted by the Su family's revenge, they had brought it on themselves. The guests were once again shocked by the truth and began cursing, saying that people like him didn't deserve to live and that someone should call the police. Hearing the word police, Linfun panicked. He rushed toward Subao shouting, no matter how badly I treated her, I still raised her. Without me, would she even be in this world? Your Su family is ungrateful. But Su Yichen coolly unfolded another document. Actually, you didn't raise her. This is a DNA test result. You are not Subao's biological father. Linfeng's mind went blank. He wasn't Subao's biological father. His last escape route was cut off. Seeing the police approaching, he made a last-ditch effort. I raised this little bastard for 3 years. And this is how you treat me? Fine, then let this little bastard die with me and your Su family can regret it forever. He lunged at Subao. But before he could reach her, Su Yichen sent him flying with a single powerful kick. The police quickly moved in and apprehended him. At the same time, Mu Qingxin was also arrested for spreading false rumors online. As he was being led away, Linfun cursed Mu Qingxin. If she hadn't lied to him, he never would have hit Subao, and he wouldn't have ended up in this mess. In a final fit of rage, he kicked Mu Qingxin hard. Unprepared, she slammed her head against the car frame and let out a scream. She fell to the ground, blood soon trickling from her head and nose. A moment later, Mu Qingxin's ghost slowly floated up from her body. She watched in a daze as the police checked her pulse. When she realized what had happened, she shrieked frantically. She didn't want to die like this. Back at the estate, old Mrs. Su held Subao and took her inside. They were in no mood to continue the birthday party. But the little girl turned to her and smiled sweetly. Is Grandma sad for Subao? It's okay, Grandma. Subao is fine. Mrs. Su's eyes reddened. This child was too kind. Seeing her grandma cry, Subao even tried to cheer her up, telling her not to cry. Su Yichen knelt down and asked Subao if she was sad. She shook her head. I'm not sad. Daddy was the one who did something wrong. He should be the one who's sad. Su Yichen was surprised. The little one was so young, but she seemed to understand everything. He patted her head. Just then, Su Yisheng raised his glass and announced that the birthday party was over. He also announced that from this day on, Subao's name would be Suzy Su, and that the Su family would never let her be wronged again. He thanked everyone for coming. As the guests envied Subao for having 8 powerful uncles watching over her, Suyer listened with a mix of envy and jealousy. At that moment, her mother spotted academician Lao in the crowd. When she heard that he was looking to take on a young disciple, her eyes lit up. Academician Lao was a renowned master of traditional Chinese painting. If he was looking for a young disciple, did that mean Suyer had a chance? If her Suyer could be chosen as his student, everyone would be green with envy. She quickly led Suyer over to him. When she learned that he was indeed there to find a young disciple, she was overjoyed. Since Suyer was talented in painting and her work had even been selected by the National Painting Academy, she automatically assumed that Suyer was the disciple he was looking for. Remembering her mother's instructions to be on her best behavior, Suyer bravely greeted him. Seeing him smile so warmly at her, she also believed he was there to choose her. She was about to say something when Dr. Su walked over with Subao. Subao looked up and called out, "Hello, Teacher Lao." Academician Lao was taken aback for a moment, but quickly realized the little girl must have meant to say Teacher Lao. He smiled back and greeted her. The mother and daughter, watching the three of them chat happily from a distance, were no longer so cheerful. Seeing that Academician Lao was about to leave with them, Suyer was stunned. Weren't they going to choose her as a disciple? Why were they leaving? She called out anxiously, "Grandpa Lao, what about me?" He looked at her in surprise and said, You're a good girl too. Grandpa has to go now. Heir looked at her mother in a daze. Her mother comforted her. Let's just wait a bit. Don't worry, no matter how rich the Su family is, they can't just hire academician Lao as a teacher. Meanwhile, in the Su family's villa, old Master Su was telling Subao all about academician Lao's achievements. When she learned that this old grandpa wanted to take her as his disciple and teach her to paint, her little face lit up. Subao excitedly explained the content of her drawings to him, and he listened, fascinated, laughing from time to time. It was soon 11 at night, and Subao happily saw him off. As academician Lao sat in his car, he couldn't help but look at the pictures of Subao on his phone. I made the right choice coming today. I found a very talented little disciple. But as his car was leaving the estate, he saw someone waving for him to stop. Out of politeness, he got out and asked kindly, "May I help you?" She quickly prompted her daughter, who had won first place in the junior group of the national painting competition, Lan Shuer. But academician Lao looked blank. "Which Lan Shuer?" Shuer became anxious. "Grandpa Lao, aren't you here to find a student?" But he told her he had already found one, the Su family's Subao. He then got back in his car and left. Shuer's mother watched the car drive away and muttered, "The Su family must have paid him off." Shuer was stunned, so her spot had been stolen by Subao. She hated Subao. On the other side, after seeing her new master off, Subao changed into her pink pajamas and said goodnight to her grandma. After her grandma left, Ji-chang floated by with a hint of resentment. That old man had dared to steal his disciple. He said to Subao, "Little Subao, how about your master opens your third eye for you today? After you open it, you'll be able to see your master and learn magic." But Subao just turned away. She didn't want to learn. She wanted to learn to paint with her old friend, the teacher. Ji-chang's mouth twitched. Seeing the little one about to lie down, he thought, if he hadn't promised Su Jinyu, he wouldn't be here begging a little kid. The next second, he continued to tempt her. "Little Subao, have you forgotten what your mama told you when you were playing on the rainbow slide in the sky? She told you to learn well from your master. Once you learn, you'll be able to see her often." But Subao's face scrunched up. "That was you playing on the slide with me, not Mama. Mama left right after she hugged me." Ji-chang was struck dumb. How did she know? Subao said with a hint of disdain, "Master, you're so silly. Your big feet were showing. Mama doesn't have such big feet." Ji-chang was speechless. Just then, Subao asked him if it was true that she could see her mama if she learned the skills. Ji-chang's answer was yes. He explained that the so-called third eye was a person's third eye, and once it was opened, she could see many things that ordinary people couldn't. Everyone is born with a third eye, but for some it opens, and for others it doesn't. That's why some babies cry for no reason, while others are completely unaffected. As babies grow, the third eye closes or disappears, and only a few people's third eyes remain, just unopened. Little Subao's third eye was still there, so once her master opened it, she would be able to see him. But when Ji-chang turned around, he saw Subao shivering under the covers. She thought that opening her third eye would make her look like the god Erlang Shen, with 3 eyes on her forehead. Ji-chang explained it to her again. Hearing that it would be hidden within her eyes, Subao was finally relieved and began to repeat the mantra after him. When Subao opened her eyes, she said, "Master, why can't I see anything?" Ji-chang floated lazily in mid-air, picking his ear. "Don't be anxious. Your master has calculated it. With your talent, it will take at least 49 days. As he spoke, he brought the finger he had just used to clean his ear to his nose and sniffed it. The action shocked Subao. "You, master, why are you smelling your earwax?" Ji-chang instinctively yelled, "Nonsense, I did not!" But the next second, he realized in shock. So Subao could see him, but she had only recited the mantra once. Her talent was off the charts. Then he saw Subao point out the window. "Master, who is that auntie? She's so ugly." The ugly auntie hanging upside down had a strange glint in her eyes, staring intently at Subao. This time, Ji-chang truly believed it. Subao could really see. He said excitedly to Subao, "Little Subao, let's see how much potential you have. Let's capture this ugly female ghost." The female ghost was furious. "Who are you calling an ugly female ghost? You can insult my ghostly dignity, but you can't insult my looks." She let out a sharp cry and lunged at them. Ji-chang led Subao to the side and told her to repeat a mantra after him. As Subao repeated his words, she sent a blast of energy that sent the female ghost flying. The female ghost was filled with hatred. She was just passing by, and they were using her for a live demonstration. That was too much. The next moment, a glint appeared in Ji-chang's eyes. He finally understood why that old man, Lao, had been so excited after taking Subao as his student. He then created a tiny fingernail-sized gourd out of thin air, and hung it on the red string on Subao's wrist. He told her it was called a soul gourd, and from now on, she could use it to help him capture ghosts. Subao didn't understand. Why did they have to capture ghosts? Ji Chang cleared his throat. Kids shouldn't ask so many questions. Just then, the female ghost, who had been recaptured by Ji Chang, floated uncontrollably in front of Subao. Subao asked her who she was and why she was so ugly. The female ghost looked lifeless. I used to be a female worker at your second uncle's construction site. My name is Li Mei. I probably did something bad and this is my punishment, that's why I'm so ugly. From Li Mei, she learned that 6 years ago, Wei Wan had given her 20,000 yuan, put some salt in Su Zilan's tea. She did as she was told. But right after she got the money, she was killed by a falling plank from the roof of the construction site. Subao was stunned. Why would she put salt in my second uncle's tea? Ji Chang narrowed his eyes. But the next moment, he sucked Li Mei into the soul gourd. He told Subao, kids need to go to sleep early. No more talking. With no other choice, Subao could only say to the red string, good night, ugly auntie. Just a moment ago, Subao had been leaning over the balcony watching old Master Su water the flowers below. Hearing her greeting, the old man had looked up happily, only to see the little one grabbing the railings and sticking her head out. He yelled in a panic, don't stick your head out! It's dangerous! Subao obediently replied, but when she tried to pull her head back, she found she was stuck. She grabbed the railings with both hands and looked at her grandpa innocently. Grandpa, I think Subao is stuck. Her uncles also never expected their niece to give them such a surprise first thing in the morning. Someone suggested, should we call 911? Subao was the first to object. Firefighters were world-saving superheroes, her idols. She didn't want her idols to see her looking so silly. She said if they just gave her a moment, she could get out. She took a deep breath and pulled hard, which only made it hurt more. Ji Chang stood by, enjoying the show. His little disciple was so adorably clumsy. At the same time, on the opposite balcony, Wei Wan watched with a cold expression. How could anyone be so stupid as to get stuck like that? It was only the second floor. What was all the fuss about? At that moment, her uncles were all offering suggestions. Su Yuefei thought that since a child's head is bigger than their body, Subao could just slip through the railings to get free. Su Lo added that they could put an airbag below. The lawn was thick enough she wouldn't die from the fall. As soon as he said it, he was met with several unfriendly glares. He hadn't said anything wrong. Why were they looking at him like that? Old Mrs. Su quickly objected. What if she hit her head or twisted her neck? In the end, Su Yuefei had to ask Su Yinger to get the hydraulic cutters while they went upstairs to figure something out. Meanwhile, Ji Chang lazily watched the little stuck turnip. Try bending the iron railings, he said. Subao suspected her master was tricking a 4-year-old, but Ji Chang confidently told her she wouldn't know until she tried. Did she think the red string he gave her was just for decoration? The next thing they knew, Subao grabbed the railings and, with a powerful pull, bent them out of shape. She couldn't believe she had actually gotten out. At the same time, her uncles, who had just arrived on the second floor, were stunned. When they saw the bent railings, they were all shocked. They didn't want anyone else to know about Subao's incredible strength. Seeing Wei Wan appear behind them, the two brothers quickly used their bodies to block the view of the railings. Wei Wan, seeing them act so defensively, felt a bit uncomfortable. It wasn't like she was the one who got Subao stuck. After she left, Su Yuefei asked in amazement, Subao, did you bend that? Subao nodded. Seeing this, her uncles all agreed to tell her not to show her strength in front of others in the future. Subao looked at them, confused, but nodded. Just then, Su Yinger rushed up with a large pair of cutters, shouting, Don't be scared, Subao! Your fifth uncle is here to save you! Subao turned to him. Fifth uncle, Subao is already out. Seeing the bent railings, Su Yinger froze. Then he heard Su Yishan whisper for him to cut the railings and explained what had happened. The next moment, Su Yinger gave Subao a thumbs up. Subao is so amazing. Want to come to the construction site with your fifth uncle? Subao nodded excitedly. It was his first time taking a kid out, and Su Yinger felt a rush of excitement. Soon, Subao had changed her clothes, grabbed Xiaowu and her bunny, and was happily heading downstairs. But then she saw Wei Wan walk by. Subao immediately stopped and said, Good morning, second aunt. After Wei Wan had passed, Subao thought that her second aunt's face looked scary. Ji Chang floated by and explained that it was the aura of death. It only appeared on someone who had killed, and had been near the person when they died, thus getting stained by the death aura. The thought that her second aunt had killed someone terrified Subao. Hearing her fifth uncle calling from downstairs, she quickly ran down and got in the car with her second and fifth uncles. She leaned against the window, looking at the unfinished stadium outside. She learned that her second uncle had designed it, inspired by a mechanical watch. She praised her second uncle. and Su Zilin's heart warmed. Just then, Ji-chang yawned lazily and released the female ghost from the soul gourd. He planned to teach Subao how to control ghosts today. He quickly drew a work talisman. Once it was attached, the ghost would obediently work for her. The female ghost was speechless. Making a ghost work in broad daylight? This wasn't work. This was a death sentence. As they were about to get out of the car, Ji-chang told Subao that, except for powerful evil spirits, other ghosts couldn't appear in the daytime and had to hide in dark places. If this ugly auntie got out of the car directly, her soul would scatter. The female ghost wanted to scream. She was a bit ugly, did he have to remind her over and over? Subao's eyes widened. Soul scattering? Is that like dying again? Ji-chang continued to explain. Now I'll teach you soul transference. You attach the ugly auntie's soul to something that can fly with the wind, and she'll be able to walk in the daytime. He subconsciously glanced at Xiao Wu. As if sensing it, Xiao Wu squawked, "Don't pluck my feathers." Subao soothed it. We won't. Not a single feather." Su Zilin glanced at them, confused. Just then, Subao remembered something else that would work. The female ghost followed her gaze and felt like she was about to explode. Were they really going to make her possess a plastic bag full of bird poop? Subao took the plastic bag and comforted the ghost, saying she would use a tissue to wrap the poop. The female ghost stared at the plastic bag in disbelief. Had she really fallen so low as to be stuck in a poop bag? Ji-chang began to teach Subao the soul transference spell, explaining that it would be a bit difficult and that she could try it, but not to force it if it didn't work. He muttered a long string of words and then, with a go, the ghost was attached to the plastic bag. He then asked Subao if she could remember it. Subao's face scrunched up as she counted on her fingers. 100 words in total, and Master just recited it so fast. Ji-chang, seeing this, couldn't help but get a little smug. If you can't remember, then... But before he could finish, the ghost shot out of the plastic bag with a whoosh. Subao realized she had probably recited it backward. She closed her eyes and began to mutter the mantra, and the ghost was instantly reattached to the tissue inside the plastic bag. Now Ji-chang was completely stunned. Another success on the first try, and even reciting it backward had worked. Soon the car stopped. But as soon as Subao opened the door, a gust of wind blew the plastic bag out of her hand. Seeing her try to grab the flying bag, Su Zilin told her not to worry, that the construction site had cleaners. She was about to chase after it when Su Yinger scooped her up and lifted her high in the air, startling Su Zilin, who was afraid the rough man would drop the child. Wei Wan angrily said that Su Zilin had asked for a divorce and that her mother-in-law supported him, blaming her for not raising Han Han well and not taking good care of their son. Wei Wan also had a feeling that Su Zilin knew about her and her mother instructing Li Mei to drug him all those years ago. Her mother grabbed her hand. So, what if he knows? She's been missing for so many years. What can he find out? Let's go to the construction site right now and make him take back the divorce papers. On the other side, Wei Wan and her mother had also arrived at the site and were heading towards Su Zilin's office. As they passed the spot where Li Mei had been killed, Wei Wan suddenly felt a chill run down her spine. She turned to look and saw a plastic bag spinning in the air. She couldn't shake the feeling that the bag was staring at her. The next second, it slapped her right in the face. She frantically tried to pull the bag off, but the smell of something foul filled her nostrils. A lump of some kind of poop was smeared on her face. Just as she was about to suffocate, her mother ripped the bag off. Both women's faces turned pale with fright. In Su Zilin's office, Subao was happily drawing. Suddenly, Wei Wan threw the door open, her face a mask of terror. She cried out Su Zilin's name and rushed to throw herself into his arms. But Su Zilin took 2 steps back, causing her to fall flat on the floor, her face bruised and swollen. She scrambled up, embarrassed. Her mother began to scold Su Zilin, saying what kind of husband moves away when his wife comes to him. Su Zilin just said calmly, "I'd rather not have that kind of embrace." Wei Wan felt utterly humiliated. She was about to say something when her eyes fell on the drawing on Subao's desk. A chill ran down her spine. Although the drawing was cartoonish, she recognized it as Li Mei. But Li Mei had been dead for years, crushed by her. How did Subao know what she looked like? Sensing her second aunt's strange behavior, Subao cautiously glanced at her and whispered to Ji-chang what was wrong with her. Ji-chang just shook his head, saying the woman was a lost cause. The bird poop on her face was proof. She had been hit by Li Mei, which had only intensified the death aura around her. Subao glanced at Wei Wan again and mumbled, "I don't see any poop, but it does smell a little." Hearing her, Wei Wan was instantly reminded of the poop that had been smeared on her face. But before she could get a word in, Su Zilin had already called for security to remove them. Her mother wanted to say more, but the guards pushed them out. After being thrown out, she grumbled about how rude Su Zilin was, kicking his mother-in-law out in front of so many people. Wei Wan impatiently told her mother to go home first. She wanted to talk to Zealand again. After they parted ways, Wei Wan went to a bronze statue. Seeing nothing unusual, she breathed a sigh of relief. But as she turned around, she saw that plastic bag with the poop in it again. She screamed and took off running. The white plastic bag was lifted by the wind and chased after her. Wei Wan was scared out of her wits, even startling a passing dog. Subao saw the whole thing from the window. She thought some crazy woman had snuck onto her uncle's construction site. Just then, with a thud, a plastic bag stuck to the window. Subao let out a small "ay." The ugly auntie was back. The female ghost begged her to let her in, saying the sun was about to make her soul scatter. The bored Ji-chang narrowed his eyes. "Don't worry, I won't let you die. You can bake in the sun all you want and you won't die." But Subao gave him a look of disdain. "Master, don't show off. Showing off gets you struck by lightning." Ji-chang was about to laugh at the little girl when a clap of thunder echoed in the clear blue sky, making his heart pound. Was it really that effective? It had to be a coincidence, right? Just then, Su Zealand brought over a cup of warm milk for Subao. Although he had 2 children, he rarely spent time with them. He patted Subao's head and suddenly asked, "Subao, do you think your second uncle should divorce your second aunt?" Subao looked up at him. "Why do people get married? And if they get married, why do they get divorced?" Su Zealand was at a loss for words. After a moment, he said quietly, "Because at that time, your second aunt was pregnant with your cousin Zixi, so we got married." Although he later found out he had been drugged and had slept with Wei Wan in a daze, this only confused Subao more. Then why was cousin Zixi in her tummy? Does second uncle like second aunt? Su Zealand rubbed the back of his neck and thought for a few seconds. "I don't think so. If second uncle doesn't like second aunt, but he had cousin Zixi with her, does that mean second uncle is what people call a scumbag?" Before Su Zealand could say anything, Subao patted him on the shoulder. "It's okay, second uncle. Subao understands." Su Zealand was full of questions. What did she understand? Just then, Su Yinger came in, scooped up Subao, and was about to take her to play on the construction site. Su Zealand quickly objected, saying the site was too dangerous for visitors, but Su Yinger waved it off. "Subao isn't a visitor. She's the junior site supervisor, you know?" Subao nodded firmly. "That's right, Subao is not idle at all." Subao pointed at it. "What's that?" Su Yinger glanced at it. "That's a phoenix totem. It's made of stainless steel. Something your second uncle designed." Ji-chang, floating behind them, told Subao to ask Su Yinger if he had a sledgehammer so they could smash it open. Subao then asked Su Yinger if he had a super-duper big sledgehammer. Su Yinger thought she was just curious. Since he was in construction, he had plenty of hammers. The two of them then excitedly rummaged through a toolbox. Ji-chang floated over curiously. "What are you two doing?" Subao said excitedly. "Looking at hammers." He floated over and pointed at the biggest one, telling her to use it to smash the statue. Subao stared at the huge hammer. Su Yinger told her, "This one is amazing. It's a heavy-duty demolition hammer." As soon as he finished speaking, he saw Subao pick up the sledgehammer. "Fifth uncle, I'm borrowing your hammer for a bit, okay?" The sight shocked Su Yinger. He had forgotten she could even bend iron railings. The next moment, he saw Subao swing the sledgehammer and smash it against the statue. With a loud crash, 2 skeletal hands and a package fell out. Su Zealand quickly scooped up Subao and covered her eyes. Su Yinger was too shocked to speak. After a moment, Su Zealand recovered, held Subao, and quickly left, telling her that if the police asked, she should say that her 5th uncle had accidentally broken the sculpture. Although Subao didn't understand why her uncle wanted her to lie, she nodded in confusion. Back at the estate, she whispered to her master, asking why she had to lie to the police since they weren't bad people. Ji-chang, flipping through a book, said nonchalantly, "The police aren't bad, but we can't rule out the possibility that some bad people might find out about your super strength and want to dissect you for research." Subao hugged herself in fear and shouted, "I don't want to be dissected!" Old Mrs. Su, holding a freshly peeled apple, heard her, and after a moment of confusion, handed the whole apple to her. "No slices, then. You can have the whole thing." Now it was Subao's turn to look at her grandma's apple in a daze. Meanwhile, Ji-chang released Li Mei from the soul gourd and asked her why her hands were in the sculpture. Li Mei said mournfully that when she was killed, her body was crushed, but her hands had been tightly clutching the bag of money. For all these years, because she was missing her hands, she had been unwilling to reincarnate, wanting to find them first. Ji-chang, flipping through his book, said calmly, "You didn't know that the salt Wei Wan had you put in Su Zealand's drink wasn't actually salt." Li Mei's mouth opened. It was because she knew, but she had still done it for the money, that she had lost her life. Ji-chang sneered. The money was wrapped in wax paper. As long as the police could find Wei Wan's fingerprints on it, she was done for. At that moment, Subao was teasing Xiaowu with an apple core. Suddenly, Wei Wan returned from outside and looked at Subao with disgust. She impatiently told Subao not to call her second aunt anymore. Having a child like you in the Su family is just bad luck. Subao bravely retorted, people have bad luck because their shadows are crooked. It has nothing to do with Subao. She remembered that when her grandpa, grandma, and father had bad luck, their shadows had been crooked. Wei Wan was furious. Was this brat saying she was crooked? How dare she talk back? She glanced around, and not seeing the old master or mistress, and thinking it was the 10th of the month and they had gone to the sanatorium, she put on a gentle expression and held out her hand, beckoning Subao over. Subao saw that her second aunt's face was completely covered in the death aura and shook her head in fear. She called for Xiaowu and turned to run. Wei Wan shouted in exasperation, "Get back here!" Subao wasn't going to stop. Only a fool would stop. Only an idiot would stop. Only an idiot would stop. Just as Wei Wan was about to catch her, she said in a sinister voice, "Subao, do you think you can escape? Not even the Jade Emperor can save you now." But as she looked up, she saw old Mrs. Su staring at her coldly. Wei Wan froze. "Why was the old lady home?" Mrs. Su said with a cold face. "Surprised to see me home? Were you planning to bully Subao while I was away?" Wei Wan quickly waved her hands, saying she was just teaching Subao not to throw apple cores on the floor. But before she could finish, an oven mitt hit her in the face. Finally, Mrs. Su gave her an ultimatum. "From this day on, our Su family doesn't have a daughter-in-law like you. Get out!" Wei Wan's eyes turned red. She threw back, "Go ahead and spoil her. One day you'll regret it," and then stormed upstairs to her room. Mrs. Su watched her go, fuming. What a piece of work. Can't even raise her own child right. And she has the nerve to lecture Subao. Just as they were calming down, they heard Han Han wailing. In her room, Wei Wan was coaxing her, telling her to go give her grandma a back rub and to give her favorite toys to Subao. But Han Han cried and refused. But just then, Mrs. Su came upstairs and had the maid, Wu Ma, bring a basin for Han Han, telling her to cry as hard as she could and not to stop until she had filled the basin with tears. Han Han was so scared she stopped crying. Wei Wan quickly said, "Mom, you'll scare her." Hearing her speak only made Mrs. Su angrier. "Didn't I tell you to get out? Why are you still here?" She then ordered people to come up, pack Wei Wan's bags, and throw them out. Wei Wan was stunned. She was actually serious. At Mrs. Su's command, a bodyguard grabbed her arm and started dragging her out. No matter how much she screamed, no one responded. At the same time, Mrs. Su steeled herself. Today she was going to cure Han Han's habit of crying and screaming. She gave her the basin and told her not to stop until it was full. The terrified Han Han immediately burst into tears again. But after crying for a long time, she saw that there was barely any water in the basin. She started crying again, this time saying, "Grandma, I really can't cry a whole basin full. I'm so thirsty, I want to drink some water." Wuma quickly brought her a glass of water. Mrs. Su turned her face away. Han Han didn't understand. Before, whenever she cried, her mother would give her whatever she wanted. Now her mother had been kicked out, and her grandma was ignoring her. Crying wasn't as useful as she thought. Just when she felt most helpless, Subao suddenly appeared beside her and handed her a lollipop. Han Han said stubbornly, "I don't want your candy." Subao immediately put the lollipop back in her pocket. "Since you don't want it, I won't force you." She then walked over and asked if her basin was full. "If you don't hurry up and cry some more, you won't get any dinner if you don't fill it up." So Han Han, while crying, said, "Then hold it for me. Don't let the tears fall on the floor." So, one of the little girls held the basin, while the other tried her best to cry but couldn't. Subao quickly told her to drink more water, that she needed water in her eyes to cry. So Han Han chugged glass after glass of water and then said with determination, "Okay, let's do it!" And so, the scene the three people who walked into the room saw was this. One was wailing but only managed to squeeze out 2 tears, while the other held a basin and cheered her on. Seeing them, Subao quickly explained the situation. Han Han, seeing them, said pitifully, "Can you ask Grandma to give me a smaller basin? Maybe a cup, can you?" Su Hyun couldn't stand it anymore. He walked over and said, "A normal person only produces about 5 milliliters of tears when they cry a lot. A basin holds about 10 liters. Even if you cry once a day, it would take you 2,000 days, not counting evaporation. You'd have to cry continuously for 5 years to fill it." Han Han trembled. "Then what do I do? I really can't cry anymore." Subao thought for a moment and comforted her. "Then you can cry again tomorrow when you wake up. Crying for 5 years doesn't seem that long." The woman was kicked out by her mother-in-law and went back to her parents' house. As soon as she walked in, she started complaining to her mother that the old hag had thrown her out, blaming her for not knowing how to raise a child. Hearing that her mother-in-law was meddling in her son and daughter-in-law's affairs, her mother flew into a rage, calling the old woman a troublemaker. Listening to her mother curse her mother-in-law, Wei Wan's anger slowly cooled. She felt that if she was kicked out just like that, all her years of effort would be wasted. So she decided to swallow her pride and go back to the Su family. Hearing that her daughter was going to go back and beg her mother-in-law, her mother quickly stopped her. She felt that the reason her daughter had been kicked out was because she was too nice and had been bullied. This time, she had to wait for them to come begging for her to return. Wei Wan found this hard to believe. But she knew her granddaughter Han Han too well. Without her mother, she would definitely throw a huge fit. The Su family wouldn't be able to handle her and would come begging for Wei Wan to return. They might not even dare to mention divorce again. Wei Wan was unsure, but she felt her mother's analysis made sense. Meanwhile, back at the Su family home, Han Han was lying in bed with red, swollen eyes, missing her mother. When Wu Ma comforted her, saying she should sleep and everything would be fine in the morning, Han Han shouted at her, "Get out! I don't want you to stay with me, I want my mama!" After being kicked out, Wu Ma opened the door to find old Mrs. Su and Subao standing outside. When Mrs. Su asked if Han Han was throwing a tantrum, Wu Ma quickly said she was much better than before, that she was just a child. But Mrs. Su disagreed. If they didn't discipline her when she was young, could they expect her to suddenly become sensible when she grew up? While her grandma and Wu Ma were talking, Subao opened Han Han's door and asked in a sweet voice if Han Han wanted her to stay with her, because there would be ghosts at night. Han Han's eyes widened. She threw a doll at the door in anger. She thought Subao was just trying to scare her. Then with a slam, she shut the door. Subao blinked innocently. She was telling the truth. Old Mrs. Su patted her head and told her to go to bed too. Seeing Subao return, Ji-chang floated over and with a fawning expression asked if she wanted to learn a magic trick from him, the kind where you shoot a fireball with a whoosh. Subao felt like her master was treating her like a 3-year-old. How could anyone shoot a fireball? Seeing that she didn't believe him, Ji-chang put on an act. Being able to open your third eye isn't that impressive, Subao, since your third eye was never really closed. But magic is different. It requires theory and practice. Some Taoist priests can't even produce a spark their whole lives. So it's normal for little Subao not to believe me, because you definitely can't do it either. Subao looked at him with disdain. Master, I know this is reverse psychology, but it won't work on me. Ji-chang was stunned. Was she really only 4 years old? She told him to show her, and if he could do it, she would believe him. Ji-chang's face darkened. Although your master is very powerful, I'm still just a ghost. Subao nodded. She understood. Her master couldn't do it either. This nearly made Ji-chang faint. Could this kid not phrase things better? What did she mean, her master couldn't do it? He continued. I'm afraid the power will be too great and I'll burn your hair off. What if you become a little baldy? Subao was about to say something else, but Ji-chang didn't give her a chance. He petulantly began to recite the mantra, saying he would only say it once. He then said smugly to Subao, "See? I told you couldn't learn it." Subao's mouth twitched. She just wanted to ask if he could possibly recite it a little slower. Meanwhile, Han Han was crying silently under her covers. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew the window open with a soft clap. Han Han, terrified, peeked out from under her blanket. A white shadow slowly floated past her eyes. She sat up and rubbed her eyes. What was that? Was it real? Just then, a ghost appeared right in front of her. Han Han screamed in terror. Just as the ghost was about to eat her, the door suddenly opened. Han Han turned her head and couldn't believe it. It was Subao. Subao immediately recited the mantra, and a fireball shot toward the female ghost with a whoosh. A piercing scream echoed as the ghost gave up its meal and quickly floated away. Ji-chang watched the ghost leave. It was an evil spirit. He then began a little lesson for Subao. Ghosts are also divided into levels. The ones like the ugly auntie, who can't do anything, are called wandering ghosts. The ones who died with resentment or in an unnatural way are called vengeful spirits. They can sometimes make themselves visible to people and even seek revenge. Above vengeful spirits are evil spirits, the most malevolent of those who died tragically. They can possess suitable hosts, and due to their obsessions, can absorb the host's negative energy to level up. There are also many types of evil spirits, all formed from human emotions like love, hate, greed, and anger, such as crybaby ghosts, cowardly ghosts, and pervert ghosts. After her master's explanation, Subao understood instantly. Because her sister Han Han was a crybaby, she had attracted a crybaby ghost. Kids really shouldn't cry so much. Ji-chang nodded in satisfaction. The little one was a quick study. At this point, Hanhan's head was still buzzing. She was completely terrified. Suddenly, she hugged Subao tightly and burst into tears. Subao gently patted her back and comforted her. "Don't be scared, big sister." Subao chased the ghost away. The next second, she suddenly told Hanhan to pause. "Don't cry! We have to catch all these tears, we can't waste them!" So Hanhan held back her tears and told Subao to hurry and get a cup. Subao quickly ran and got a water cup and handed it to her. But after she got the cup, Hanhan only managed to shed 2 more tears. She looked at the cup, speechless. She had wasted so many tears earlier. Just then, Subao climbed onto Hanhan's bed. "Why don't you lie down and cry? It's less effort." Ji-chang sighed. Looking at the 2 little ones on the bed, he was at a loss for words. The next morning, old Mrs. Su drove her electric wheelchair to Subao's room and called for her to wake up. When there was no response, she gently pushed the door open. The dozing Xiao Wu suddenly screeched, "Kidnapper! Someone is stealing the child!" Mrs. Su's face paled, and she also shouted, "Someone! Come quick! Subao is missing!" When everyone arrived in Subao's room, she said frantically, "Subao is gone. The parrot said someone stole her." Su Yichen immediately called for someone to check the surveillance footage, and then had Wuma ask the servants who were up early if they had seen anything unusual. Just then, a sleepy voice came from behind him. "Uncle, what are you looking for?" It was Subao, holding her stuffed bunny in one hand and rubbing her sleepy eyes with the other, with a still dazed Hanhan beside her. Everyone was confused. Why was Subao in Hanhan's room? And why was Hanhan up so early without throwing a fit? After the chaos, the 2 little girls had breakfast and then went to the study to draw. Subao handed Hanhan a piece of white paper. Hanhan sniffed. "I don't want yours." But her body betrayed her as she snatched the paper from Subao's hand. Subao said teasingly, "I thought you didn't want it?" Hanhan retorted stubbornly, "My paper wasn't white enough. I'll make do with yours." Soon they had both finished their drawings. Old Master Su was holding up his phone, video calling academician Lao. The academician asked Subao what she had drawn today. Hanhan's mood sank a little. But the next second, he asked Hanhan what she had drawn. Her eyes lit up, and she began to describe her drawing, just like Subao had. It turned out Hanhan had thought he didn't like her. Now, hearing him praise both of their drawings, the 2 girls smiled happily. So this was what it felt like to be praised. Other than her mother, no one had ever praised her before. It turned out that you could get attention without crying and screaming. Her mother had always said Subao was a bad kid, but now she felt like her mother might have been wrong. Meanwhile, Wei Wan was pacing outside the Su family's estate. She had been waiting at her parents' house for the Su family to come begging for her to return, but there had been no word. So she had come back herself, only to be stopped by the security guards. She peered through the fence and saw Hanhan and Subao playing together. She was extremely unhappy. What if Subao was a bad influence on Hanhan? She called out from a distance, "Mama is here! Look over here!" Subao and Hanhan were catching fish. Hearing Wei Wan's voice, Hanhan was about to turn her head when Subao clapped her hands over her ears. "No, you didn't hear that." She then pulled Hanhan by the hand and ran toward the house, whispering that there was a big monster behind them. Hanhan, remembering the ghost from the previous night, was terrified and ran inside in a flash. Wei Wan didn't even have a chance to say another word before they were gone. She grabbed the fence in frustration and said fiercely, "Subao is such a little pretty boy, and now she's leading Hanhan astray." That evening, since it was the weekend, all 8 of the Su brothers came home. Old Master Su suggested they all go camping at the wetland park the next day. Subao asked what camping was. Su Zixi, standing next to her, called her a country bumpkin. Old Master Su's face darkened, and he was about to scold him, but Zixi made a face and ran upstairs. The old man was starting to get a headache from Su Zealand's 2 children. Neither of them was easy to handle. That day, the mother and daughter saw that academician Lao, whom they had been following closely, had posted on Weibo. This time he had not only posted Subao's drawing, but Hanhan's as well. Xuer asked her mother sadly if it was because she had been caught lying in public that the Su family had stolen her spot with the academician and given it to Subao. Her mother stroked her head and comforted her, saying it wasn't her fault. Seeing Xuer so down, her mother decided to take her camping the next day to cheer her up. Xuer's face immediately brightened. The next day, the Su family arrived at the wetland park. Looking at the jade-green lake and breathing the fresh air, Subao exclaimed that camping was great. Old Mrs. Su quietly watched her 8 sons, each busy with their own tasks. She sighed. If it weren't for Subao's return, the Su family probably would never have been able to be so united. Just then, Subao ran over to her with a flower in her hand. "Grandma, this is for you. It's a wishing flower." Mrs. Su took the flower with a smile. On the other side, Su Yinger and Su Zilin were setting up a tent, but Su Yinger couldn't find a hammer. Just then, Subao came running over, carrying a toolbox. Much to the astonishment of her two uncles. She opened the toolbox, and her eyes lit up at the rows of hammers. Su Yinger boasted proudly, "Isn't your fifth uncle's hammer impressive?" Subao nodded vigorously in agreement. From a distance, the other two uncles watched, concerned that their adorable niece was being led astray by Su Yinger. Subao had already picked up a hammer and asked Su Zilin where to hammer. He subconsciously pointed at a spot where a stake needed to be driven in. Subao hammered while chanting, 80-80! Just then, a car pulled up next to the Su family's campsite. Xuer and her parents got out. They pretended to be surprised to see Su Yichen. This was a rare opportunity to get close to the Su family, so Xuer's mother decided they would camp here too. But Su Yichen said coolly, "We have a lot of people. There's no room here." Xuer's father was a bit embarrassed and pointed to a nearby empty spot. "They can go over there." By now, Xuer had walked up to Subao and asked what she was playing. She asked if she wanted her to take her to play with her brother Huan, but Subao flatly refused, saying her fake smile was just like her stepmom's. She then silently packed up her things and left. Xuer's face stiffened. She secretly decided to get Han Han on her side and isolate Subao. But Han Han just looked at her with disdain. "Who wants to play with you? Who do you think you are?" She then ran off after Subao. Xuer's resentment towards Subao grew. She then walked over to Su Huan and said tearfully, "Brother Huan, I don't know what I did wrong, but Subao and Han Han won't play with me." He told her to go away and not to bother him. He then walked in Subao's direction. Xuer clenched her fists, feeling even more wronged and unfairly treated. What was so great about Subao? She was about to go back to her mother when someone popped out from the bushes. It was Han Han's mother. Remembering her mother had told her to suck up to Aunt Wei Wan, Xuer walked over. Wei Wan tricked her into calling Han Han over without letting anyone else know. Xuer happily nodded and ran to find Han Han. She whispered something in her ear. Han Han looked over, confused. And sure enough, her mother was waving at her from behind some trees. Having not seen her mother for a few days, Han Han happily ran into her arms. Wei Wan asked if she had been eating and sleeping well. When she heard that Han Han wasn't allowed to eat if she missed meal times, she was heartbroken. How could the Su family treat a child like that? She immediately wanted to take Han Han back to her parents' house. But Han Han, who used to be so clingy, now refused to leave with her. Wei Wan put on a pitiful act. Does Han Han not want Mama anymore? Han Han immediately shook her head. Wei Wan took the opportunity to bribe her, saying she would take her to an amusement park if she was good. But Han Han pulled her hand away. She cried, asking her mother why she never let her choose what she wanted. Hearing the commotion, the Su family came over. Su Zilin, afraid Wei Wan would hurt Han Han's arm, quickly yelled, "Wei Wan, have you not caused enough trouble?" Seeing she had been discovered, Wei Wan dropped the act. As a mother, what was wrong with her wanting to see her child? She grabbed Han Han and said, "You want to play here? Mama will play with you." Han Han cried, trying to break free. She didn't want to play with her mother. She wanted to play with Subao. This finally pushed Wei Wan over the edge. She grabbed Han Han by the shoulders and told her that a manipulative child like Subao would only be a bad influence. Without Subao, she would be the Su family's little princess. And her grandma not feeding her was child abuse. Only her mother would always love her. Han Han was scared into silence by her mother's fierce voice. Su Zilin rushed forward to grab her. But being pulled by both of them, Han Han felt like she was being torn apart and cried her heart out. Not wanting to hurt her, Su Zilin had to let go. Wei Wan stumbled and fell. Just then, Su Zilin's phone rang. He glanced at Wei Wan and then said coldly into the phone, "Then you can come over now." Just then, Subao noticed a lot of black energy around Wei Wan. Ji-chang said grimly, "Today is not their day to die, but they are about to face a self-inflicted calamity." Subao was confused. "What is self-inflicted?" Ji-chang stroked his chin and said calmly, "Suicide." Wei Wan probably guessed that the phone call was from the police and realized her crimes have been exposed. Subao shouted, "Second aunt is going to commit suicide with Han Han." Wei Wan's face changed. How did Subao know her plan? Old Mrs. Su wished she could rush over and stop her. Han Han cried and called for her mother, but Wei Wan kept saying they had forced her to do this as she ran toward the lake. But she hadn't expected the Su brothers to be so quick. They immediately blocked her path. Wei Wan put her hand on Han Han's neck and cried that all she had ever wanted was to be the second mistress of the Su family. What happened 6 years ago was in the past. Why couldn't they forgive her? Just then, she saw a car approaching from behind. In a moment of desperation, she hugged Han Han and ran toward it. Su Zilin's heart tightened. It was too late to stop her. Suddenly, a spatula flew out of nowhere and hit Wei Wan on the head with a thwack. Her grip loosened and Han Han fell to the ground, nearly getting hit by the oncoming car. Wei Wan's forehead was bleeding. Suzy Lin quickly scooped up the terrified Han Han. Seeing his big uncle glance at the spatula, Subao nervously wrung her hands and apologized to him. After all, he had told her not to show her strength. Su Yichen patted her head and comforted her. Your second aunt deserved it. Subao did nothing wrong. Just then, the police arrived and coldly informed Wei Wan that she was under arrest for a murder that had occurred 6 years ago. An officer held up several documents. On the wax paper clutched in the hands we found inside the sculpture at the City West New District Plaza, we found your fingerprints. The serial numbers on the money inside the wax paper perfectly matched the money you withdrew from an ATM at X-Bank 6 years ago. You first hired someone to poison Mr. Su Zilin, and then you killed Li Mei to silence her. The evidence is conclusive. Wei Wan's heart went cold. She tried to struggle, but the police put her in handcuffs. As she was being led to the police car, she cried through the window, Zilin, save me! Please, ask the police to let me go! Han Han is still so young, she can't be without her mother. An officer was taking a statement and asked how she had gotten the injury on her forehead. Su Yichen quickly pointed at Su Zilin. Wei Wan was trying to commit suicide with the child just now. My second brother, in his panic, threw it at her. Su Zilin quickly nodded in agreement. The officer was a bit skeptical that such a small thing could cause that kind of injury. But seeing them both so certain, he took the small spatula with him, saying they needed to run some tests on it. Subao stared at the departing police car. Her little spatula had been arrested. Seeing her so down, old Mrs. Su asked if she was okay. Subao shook her head. Out with the old, in with the new. Su Zilin, hearing this, felt a shiver of fear. He decided he would never get married again. With the matter finally settled, Su Yuefei, worried the little one was overthinking things, took her to have a barbecue. Just as Subao was about to dig in, old Mrs. Su, worried she would get a sore throat, told her she could only have one skewer. Su Yuefei told his mother not to worry about it since they were out having fun. They still had the 8th brother after all. At this, Xiao Wu perked up. Number 8, your butt is blooming. Su Yisheng glared at Xiao Wu, who flapped its wings in a panic, squawking, Run! Run! As everyone was laughing and trying to forget what had just happened, Weir came over with a cake, looking very well behaved. She didn't believe any child could resist strawberry cake, and there was no one she couldn't win over. But Subao just refused and grabbed a skewer of barbecue instead. Shuer felt a bit awkward, but still asked confidently if Subao didn't like her. Subao was speechless. She then nodded. Hadn't they already had this conversation? Shuer, who had never been rejected so bluntly, burst into tears and ran off crying, Subao is a bad kid. Subao, with her mouth full of barbecue, didn't even have a chance to respond. At that moment, no one noticed a dark figure crawling through the tall grass nearby. It lifted its head slightly, its face covered in blood. It reached out a hand and began to crawl toward the Su family. Just a moment ago, Jichang had finally found his chance and eagerly tried to get Subao to have a lesson with him. But Subao turned her face away. Every time Master gives me a lesson, he talks about things I don't understand. I don't want to learn. But Jichang ignored her resistance and continued. Today, Master will teach you about the 5 arts of Chinese metaphysics: mountain, medicine, destiny, divination, and physiognomy. Mountain refers to spiritual practices like alchemy, talismans, secret arts, and military strategy. Medicine is easier to understand. It's traditional Chinese medicine. Astrology and fortune-telling also fall under this category. Subao was not happy. Fortune-telling? Did that mean she had to learn to be a shaman? But they get arrested. This stumped Ji Chang. This little girl even knew about shamans. Subao recalled with a serious expression that once when her father had taken her out, they saw someone who claimed to be a shaman and could dance to make it rain. The person's movements were like convulsions, and they ended up getting arrested. Ji Chang was speechless, but he felt it was necessary to explain to the little girl that truly advanced secret arts often only required a simple movement of the fingers. Simply put, if she learned it, she could cure her grandma's illness. Subao immediately sat up straight on the grass, her face serious. If it can save Grandma, Subao is willing to learn anything. Ji Chang's lips curled into a smile. You little rascal, I knew I could get you. But just as he was about to explain what destiny and fortune-telling were, Subao raised her hand again. She knew about that too, but that person had been arrested by the city management officers. It was that same time with her father. A blind uncle wanted to tell her fortune, but he was taken away by the officers. She then asked with a worried expression if she could learn something that wouldn't get her arrested. Ji Chang really wanted to kick Linfun. What kind of messed up places had he been taking Subao? But then Subao said that her father had taken her to the street, told her he was going to buy cigarettes and to wait for him. But she waited and waited, and in the end, a police officer had to take her home. Subao was so good she stood right on that square tile and didn't move, but Daddy still forgot about her. As she said this, she suddenly looked up and asked Ji-chang quietly, "Daddy was actually trying to abandon me, wasn't he?" In truth, the moment her father turned and walked away, Subao knew she had been abandoned. Ji-chang was speechless. He patted her head and said, "From now on, if someone doesn't want you, you don't want them either, understand? Remember, little Subao, the person who abandons you is never worth forgiving, nor do they deserve to make you sad." Subao nodded, not fully understanding. Her spirits lifted, and she was full of energy. She asked Ji-chang to teach her traditional Chinese medicine. It wouldn't get her arrested, and she could even be on TV. Ji-chang wanted to smack himself. Could this kid not go 3 sentences without mentioning being arrested? But the next moment, Subao was imitating a TV commercial. "After careful consideration, I've made a decision that goes against my ancestors and will donate my family's secret formula for free. Limited time offer, only $9.98. I am a divine doctor, and after using my ancestral formula, I guarantee it will cure all diseases. This pill of mine, from indigestion in children to back pain in the elderly, and even erectile dysfunction in young men, it works for everything." Then she said excitedly, "These medicines are so amazing, they're on TV, but what does erectile dysfunction mean?" With no other choice, Ji-chang had to trick her again, saying it meant you couldn't lift weights. Hearing this, Subao understood immediately. She had seen it on TV during the Olympics. A lot of athletes had that problem. Seeing her getting more and more off topic, Ji-chang quickly told her that the people in the TV commercials all ended up getting arrested. This stunned Subao. Why was everything her master taught so sketchy? Everything seemed to lead to getting arrested. Seeing her finally getting serious, Ji-chang continued his explanation. But then Han Han appeared, holding a bunch of barbecue skewers. She gave them all to Subao. Hearing Subao thank her, Han Han turned away, embarrassed, and said stubbornly, "I didn't bring these for you. I just couldn't eat them all." Subao looked at the smiling Han Han and felt happy too. Just then, old Mrs. Su came over in her electric wheelchair. Seeing the little girl from a distance, she couldn't help but speak in a high-pitched voice. "Subao." She then told her not to just eat barbecue, that Grandma would take her to pick raspberries. Hearing they were going to pick raspberries, Subao devoured the skewers in her hand. Just as they were about to enter the bushes, Xiaowu suddenly flew out, squawking, "There's a little ghost! There's a little ghost!" Old Mrs. Su suggested they go back, but Subao said she wasn't scared. What was so scary about a ghost? Her master loved ghosts. The next second, she told her grandma to wait for her and followed Ji-chang into the woods. Mrs. Su tried to follow, but Subao disappeared in an instant. The sky was getting dark, and she was so anxious she was about to cry. She kept calling out, "Subao! It's dangerous in there! Come back!" Suddenly, there was a rustling in the bushes, and Subao came out huffing and puffing, carrying a little ghost on her back. Seeing her grandma's terrified expression, Subao immediately dropped the little ghost on the ground and ran into her arms. She had promised her mama she would take care of her grandma, but she had just left her behind. Subao was an irresponsible, bad kid. Just then, Suyichin and the others came running over. They had heard Mrs. Su calling for Subao and thought something had happened. But then they saw Xiaowu off to the side chanting, "Yo-yo, there's a little ghost, check it out." Su Yisheng went over and touched the little ghost on the ground, only to find it was a little boy. He checked his breathing and pulse. It seemed he wasn't dead yet, there was still a chance. Su Yunchao quickly told his 6th brother to contact a hospital, and for Subao to take care of their grandma. He and Su Yisheng would carry the boy back to the tent. At that moment, Ji-chang floated excitedly next to the boy. He said to Subao, "This person has lost one of his 3 souls and 7 spirits. This is a classic case. Your master will teach you how to save him later." Subao nodded. "Saving a life is more meritorious than building a 7-story pagoda? Of course I have to learn." Ji-chang's mouth twitched. It was building a 7-story pagoda, not more meritorious than building a 7-story pagoda. Meanwhile, Suier's father saw Su Yisheng carrying an injured child back and, trying to suck up, said they had medicine and that he would go get it. But Su Yisheng refused, saying the patient's vital signs were unstable and they couldn't administer any medication randomly. Then his gaze fell on the child's clothes. This brand only served the Su, Si, and Mu families in Kyoto, and the Mu family had no children. That meant this child was the young master of the Si family, one of Kyoto's 3 major families, Si Yiran, who had been missing for days. Watching the Su family walk away, Shueyer's father seemed to realize they hadn't recognized the boy's identity yet. He mentioned it to his wife, whose eyes lit up. The Si family had been searching for days. if they contacted them now and said they had found the young master. But before she could finish, her husband called her an idiot. Did she really think the Su and C families were stupid? Seeing that nothing was working, Swaye's mother was getting desperate. Just then, her husband took out his phone and, in a very anxious tone, said, "The Su family's little princess found the Sai family's young master. Mr. Su asked me to give you a call." Hearing her husband's plan, she praised him. This way, they could suck up to both families at once. In the Su family's tent, Dr. Su had washed the boy's face and changed him into clean clothes. Now they could finally see his face clearly. With no one else around, Ji-chang quickly called Subao over. He was going to teach her how to summon a soul. He then began to recite the soul-summoning mantra. The little turtle on the right, with such a big tummy ache. Benin kills a black chicken. Little brother poops. Poops so much that Benin kills a black chicken. After reciting a long passage, Ji-chang asked Subao if she had memorized it. She nodded firmly. She had. But he didn't believe her. Was his little disciple's talent really that incredible? He had her recite it for him. The little turtle on the right with such a big tummy ache. Benin kills a black chicken. Little brother poops. Poops so much that Benin kills a black chicken. As Subao finished, the soul-summoning spell took effect. Ji-chang was stunned. The pronunciation was similar, but it still worked. "Master, who is Benin? Why did he kill a black chicken? And why did the little brother poop twice?" Mrs. Su couldn't hold back any longer and asked Subao who she was talking to. But she just said she was talking to her master. Mrs. Su's heart sank. Did Subao have a mental illness? Could it be that from the abuse at the Lins, she had developed another personality, another friend that only she could see? Just then, Ji-chang told Subao not to mention him to anyone else. But Subao said, "Grandma isn't anyone else." Seeing her talking to herself again, Mrs. Su's heart sank even further. Forgetting that her own legs couldn't move, she threw herself forward and hugged Subao. "Subao, be good. You have your grandma, grandpa, and so many uncles now. You'll get better." This completely confused Subao. What was wrong with her grandma? Why was she suddenly crying? Just then, an ambulance and several white cars arrived at the campsite. It was the Sai family. Shueir's parents had been waiting by the road. In contrast to their anxious expressions, the Sai family was much calmer. Seeing that they were ignoring them and heading straight for the Su family's tent, Shueir's father comforted his wife, saying they were probably just anxious to see the child. They could find an opportunity to visit the young master later, so as not to seem suspicious. At that moment, Siya arrived at the tent, and Su Yichin personally greeted him. Subao was surprised. Why did this person have a golden glow around him? Ji-chang explained that this was something only people with great merit had. But on the outer edge of the golden light, there was also an aura of death, which meant he had killed people. However, he had killed bad people, so even though he was stained by the death aura, the golden light around him would block it out. After her master's explanation, Subao understood instantly. This uncle was a good person. She then trotted over to greet him. Siya was surprised. This little girl wasn't afraid of him. She was even smiling at him. He nodded back and asked if she was the one who had carried Yiran back. Subao obediently hummed in agreement. Siya thanked her and promised that once Yiran was better, they would come to thank her properly. He then said goodbye to Su Yishan, saying he would take Yiran to the hospital. Hearing that they were taking the little boy away, Subao became anxious. She quickly told Siya, "The little brother's illness is not ordinary. If he doesn't wake up, you must come find me." Siya just nodded casually, clearly not taking her words seriously. As she watched them leave, Subao couldn't help but worry. The next day, Siya stood ramrod straight outside the operating room, comforting a woman pacing back and forth, telling her not to worry, that Yiran would be fine. This was Yiran's mother. Just then, the operating room doors opened and a doctor came out. The couple looked over nervously, only to hear the doctor say that they had done everything they could and that they should prepare themselves. When Ruyun choked out, "That's impossible," the doctor continued, "We've done all the tests, but we can't find the cause of his illness. The young master's breathing is getting weaker, and in just one night he's lost 10 pounds. It's unheard of. If you don't want him to suffer, we suggest you take him home to handle his final arrangements." Tears streamed down Wen Ruyun's face. She stroked her son's pale face and begged the doctor to try something else, that her son was still so young. Just then, an angry voice cut in. "We should never have trusted these quacks in the first place." An old woman said to Siya, "Son, I just invited a master. He's waiting downstairs. His immortal powers will surely save Yiran." But Siya refused. The old woman had always been superstitious and had hired many masters in the past, all of whom had turned out to be frauds. But she insisted that this Master Yun was a true immortal. that people begged him for help and couldn't even get an audience. Sia frowned and said calmly, "That won't be necessary." He gently placed a hand on the shoulder of the sobbing Wen Ruyun. Hearing her son's answer, the old woman's voice rose an octave. "If you don't believe in Master Yun, what else can you do? Are there any other options?" Her words reminded Sia of what Subao had said. "There is another way." He scooped up Si Yiran and said to Wen Ruyun, "Let's go. We're taking Yiran to the Su family." Wen Ruyun also quickly realized he meant to find Subao. But the old woman blocked their path. They wouldn't trust a true immortal, but they would trust a 4-year-old girl? Sia patiently said to her, "Mom, just based on the fact that Subao was the one who saved Yiran, I believe her." She shouted after them, "You're going to kill Yiran! If Yiran dies, I won't live either." In the hallway, a man in a Taoist robe leaned against the wall. The old woman begged him to come with her to the Su family. Seeing him remain silent, she piously promised that if he came with her and solved the problem, she would have the temple rebuilt and double the incense money. At this, Master Yun's expression turned proud. "Since we are fated, this old Taoist will make a trip with you to see which ignorant child dares to speak such nonsense." The old woman, full of gratitude, followed behind him. Meanwhile, at the Su family's estate, Subao was distractedly drawing and asking her grandma if the little brother from yesterday had woken up yet. Old Mrs. Su shook her head. She didn't know either. Seeing Subao so concerned, Sulo joked, "Looks like the treasure our Su family just found is about to be stolen away by some other little brat." But Subao retorted, "Fourth uncle, do you know that saving a life is more meritorious than building a 7-story pagoda?" Sulo chuckled. He never thought a child so young would know that. Ji Chang, seeing Subao so eager to know about the boy, tempted her, asking if she wanted to learn divination from him. Subao looked over, confused, as he asked if she remembered the 5 arts he had taught her yesterday. He continued, explaining that divination was one of the 5 arts, a way to predict future fortunes and misfortunes. Today, he would teach her turtle shell divination. Before he could finish, Subao's eyes lit up. She had a turtle shell. Ji Chang quickly floated after her as they went to the rockery pond in the estate. "Master, look! There's a grandpa turtle right here!" Ji Chang looked at the old turtle basking in the sun. He wanted to tell her that although divination used a turtle shell, it didn't use a live turtle. But the next second, Subao had already picked up the old turtle. With a flick of her wrist, she tossed it on the ground. "Spinning Grandpa Turtle, tell me about the little brother." Ji Chang was stunned. His jaw. She was already starting? After spinning a few times, the turtle finally stopped. Subao squatted beside it, muttering seriously, So that's how it is." Ji Chang's mouth twitched. "So how was it?" "The little brother isn't dead. He's coming this way. And there's an old fraud. The little brother might not live long." Suddenly, Subao saw the old turtle bite a blade of grass and, with a push, flip itself over. "Oh!" she exclaimed. "There's a twist!" Ji Chang felt his mouth twitch so much it was going numb. That was called flipping over, not a twist. Just then, the sound of a car engine came from outside the estate. Subao immediately stood up and looked toward the gate. Ji Chang's jaw dropped again. She had actually predicted it. Hearing her grandma call for her, Subao ran outside. When Wen Ruyun saw her, she felt like she had found her last hope. "Subao, please save Yiran. He's not going to make it." Subao immediately understood what was happening and told them to come inside. She then had Wen Ruyun give her a set of Si Yiran's clothes and asked her grandma if she had an iron basin and paper money, because she was going to save the little brother. Although they didn't know what she was planning, Wu Ma explained that the items were in the storage room and she would go get them. After everything was ready, Subao suddenly noticed a stick of incense appear above Si Yiran's head. Ji Chang explained that this was the yin incense of the head. Before a person dies, a stick of yin incense will appear on their head. When the incense burns out, the person dies. Subao's brow furrowed. At the same time, Ji Chang was deep in thought. A person who was critically ill but not fated to die shouldn't have yin incense on their head, even if they had 1 foot in the grave. Could this kid really not have long to live? Hearing that, when the incense burns out, the person dies, Subao immediately grabbed a talisman and was about to begin her ritual. Just then, a breathless voice cried out, "Stop!" An angry old woman with a cane knocked the talisman out of her hand. Just as she was about to strike again, a hand caught the cane. "I let you in because your grandson is here, not for you to hit people," Su Yichen said, his face dark as he held the cane. She told Sia to take Si Yiran and leave, that they didn't want to be at the Su's house anyway, but Sia just told her to leave on her own if she wanted to. Just then, the inscrutable Master Yun walked in and sighed that it was too late. At the same time, Subao was on the verge of tears. "Uncle, if we don't save the little brother now, it'll be too late." Master Yun frowned at her. Was this little charlatan copying him? So shameless at such a young age. Hearing that it was too late, old Mrs. C quickly urged Master Yun to save her grandson. He pretended that he would help her out of pity. She watched him begin his ritual full of gratitude. Her grandson was finally saved. Master Yun waved a peachwood sword around, muttering to himself, while his disciple banged a gong beside him. After all this, Subao saw that the yin incense on Si Yaran's head was only a third of the way burned. She angrily pointed at Master Yun and called him a fraud, that he wasn't performing any magic at all. But Master Yun, with the air of a great master, said that he had just performed a ritual, and that the young Master C would wake up in less than 5 minutes. Seeing Subao causing trouble, old Mrs. C scolded her for being naughty and for interrupting Master Yun's ritual. Tears welled up in Subao's eyes as she shouted, "The little brother won't wake up! What he's doing is useless!" Just then, Wen Ruyun pushed old Mrs. C aside. "Enough! He's my son, and I'll decide. Subao, go ahead." Old Mrs. C was furious. "As a daughter-in-law, is this how you treat your mother-in-law?" Thea grabbed Master Yun and was about to throw him out. Old Mrs. C cried out in despair, "You're going to kill my grandson! How can you treat a living immortal like this?" Master Yun's face was livid. Ever since he had become an immortal, no one had dared to be so disrespectful to him. As Siya held back his mother and Master Yun, he turned to Subao and asked, "Is there still time?" Subao nodded. "There should be. The yin incense hasn't burned out yet." She then began to recite the soul-summoning mantra, and the talisman that had fallen on the floor burst into green flames. She threw Siyiran's clothes into the fire basin and with a serious face chanted, "Benin kills a black chicken! Benin kills a black chicken!" Master Yun frowned. "What, kill a black chicken? So young and already a swindler?" His disciple sneered, "If she saves Siyiran, I'll do a handstand and eat 10 pounds of poop." As soon as he said it, the clothes in the fire basin suddenly stood up with a whoosh, stunning the 8 faces watching. Subao happily walked over and waved at the little shirt. "Little brother, hurry up and go back." Then, with a whoosh, it was as if something had entered Siyiran's body. His fingers twitched slightly. Everyone held their breath, their eyes wide, staring at him. But the expressions on Master Yun and his disciples' faces were priceless. Was he really going to have to eat 10 pounds of poop? But after waiting a moment, Subao saw that the yin incense on his head was gone. So why hadn't he woken up? The disciple took the opportunity to mock everyone for letting a child fool around and waste the time his master could have used to save him. Master Yun pretended to scold his disciple, "The dead deserve respect. Do not speak ill." Hearing him declare Siyiran dead, old Mrs. C cried that Subao had killed her grandson and that she had to pay with her life. Subao quickly corrected her. "The little brother isn't dead yet." Seeing his mother crying and screaming, Siya couldn't help but yell, "Be quiet!" This only made her cry and scream louder. Master Yun stood to the side, watching them argue with a cold expression, very pleased with himself. This is what they got for not believing him. A person he couldn't even save, and they expected a little brat to do it. What a joke. Just then a faint voice was heard, "So noisy." The arrogant look on Master Yun's face froze. He looked over in disbelief and saw Siyiran weakly propping himself up. Subao suddenly thought her master was amazing. So not everything he taught would get her arrested. Hearing the little brother ask for her name, Subao's eyes curved into crescents as she told him her name was Subao. Siyiran silently committed her name to memory. The next second, he was being touched by Wen Ruyun's trembling hands, and his grandmother also came over, her voice shaking. "That's my grandson! So lucky!" Seeing this, the Su family wanted to throw the woman out. When he couldn't be saved, it was Subao's fault. When he was saved, it was because her grandson was lucky. Siya said to Su Yichen, "I'm sorry for the trouble. I'll handle my family matters when I get home." He then knelt down and patted Subao's head. If it weren't for her, Si Yiran really would have died. But Subao, unaware of the gravity of what she had done, just said happily, "You don't have to thank me, uncle. Saving a life is more meritorious than building a 7-story pagoda." Siya then left with his family. Seeing the Sai family leave, he and his disciple also tried to slip away. But then they heard Subao say, "Hey, didn't someone just say they were going to eat 10 pounds of poop?" The two of them wished they could dig a hole and crawl into it. Master Yun, his face dark, scolded Subao. "So young and so unforgiving. You should learn to be more virtuous." His disciple, riding on his master's coattails, added, "If she really did save Siyiran, then heaven itself will make me eat poop." With that, the two of them left in a huff. Subao was confused. If she didn't save him, did they? She finally understood why the police arrested people like them. Ji-chang rubbed her little head and told her that he had already divined their fates. They wouldn't escape their calamity today. Meanwhile, at the Su family's estate, old Mrs. Su pointed at Subao and told her 2 sons to look. that she was talking to the heir again and often said she had a master with her. Su Yichen and Su Luo felt a chill run down their spines. Something was very wrong with Subao. Mrs. Su asked worriedly if they should take her to a psychiatrist. She suspected that the abuse she had suffered at the Lins had caused psychological problems. Su Yichen thought for a moment and suggested that Subao stay with him for a while so he could observe her. Besides, the grand opening ceremony for Tang Dynasty Grandeur, a company the Su Corporation had invested in, was tomorrow. He could take her out for a bit. Subao, completely unaware of the plans being made for her, was seriously learning from her master how to massage her grandma's legs. The thought of her grandma being able to do square dancing after her legs were healed excited her. She had to work hard so her grandma could stand up soon. Outside the Su family's estate, old Mrs. C apologetically offered to give the two a ride home, but Master Yun refused. His disciple pretended to be angry, complaining that the Sai family was ungrateful. It was clearly his master who had saved Si Yiran, but just because his soul had been wandering for too long, the credit had gone to that little girl. Old Mrs. C immediately understood. She knew a 4-year-old couldn't possibly know anything. She took out a black card and handed it to him. The two of them feigned reluctance, saying they wouldn't stoop to stealing credit from a child. His expression softened. Fine. Seeing your sincerity, this Taoist will consider it a good deed. Changfeng, accept it. Now satisfied, the two of them left. Changfeng turned to his master and asked where they were going next. Master Yun told him to prepare what they needed. Tomorrow they were going to the grand opening of Tang Dynasty Grandeur to preside over the event. But the next second, Changfeng kicked a small stone on the ground and stumbled forward. He fell right into a nearby open manhole. Master Yun, horrified, leaned over the edge and heard him yelling from below, "Master, save me! It's all poop down here. Master, get me out." But Master Yun, with his sharp eyes, told him to dive down and get the bank card, because he had seen it sink. So the next evening, the Lan family appeared at the Sai family's gate. A servant informed old Mrs. C of their arrival. Weren't they the ones who had called her son yesterday about finding the young master? She told the servant to let them in quickly. She played the part of the mistress of the house, telling them to make themselves at home. She then casually asked if they were the ones who had found Yiran yesterday. Shueir's mother graciously said that they hadn't found him, but had merely participated in the rescue. The old woman's eyes showed a hint of approval. They were respectful and didn't take credit. Then Shueir politely greeted her. When she learned that it was Master Yun who had saved Si Yiran, Shueir's mother said in surprise, "You mean the Master Yun from Shenongjia?" The old woman, seeing her reverence for Master Yun, felt an instant connection. She had finally found someone who understood. She was then told that Siya was sending her back to the countryside. She immediately started screaming, accusing Wen Riyun of forging Siya's orders to get rid of her. Did she have no respect for her as her mother-in-law? Just then, Siya came out and said coldly, "I was the one who said it. You only cause trouble for the family here. It's better for you to go back to the countryside to retire." Shueir's father, seeing this, knew it was bad. They had just managed to suck up to the old woman, and now she was being kicked out. They had wasted their time. He was about to try and persuade him, but Siya just told the butler to throw them out. It wasn't their place to comment on the Si family's affairs. Shueir's father's face stiffened. He never thought Siya would be so difficult. The family was thrown out, embarrassed and dejected. Shueir couldn't stand the humiliation and was about to cry when she saw her mother pull out a blue card. Her father asked in surprise where she had gotten it. It was an invitation to the Tang Dynasty Grandeur event. Her mother whispered that she had secretly taken it when the Si family wasn't looking. Since the old woman had been kicked out and Siya never attended such events, they decided to go to the grand opening tomorrow in the Sai family's name. Maybe they could meet some important people, and then their family's path would be much smoother. Because today was the grand opening of Tang Dynasty Grandeur, Xiao Wu had started singing Left-Fingered Moon early in the morning, but when it got to the high notes, its voice cracked, finally waking Subao up. She rubbed her eyes and asked if it was constipated since it was screeching so miserably. Xiao Wu squawked, "I'm not constipated." Ji Cheng watched the two of them talk past each other, a twitch in his mouth. He reminded Subao that she was going out with her big uncle today and needed to get up and get dressed. At that moment, Su Yichen was having a video conference in the dining room. Hearing a noise, he saw Subao's little legs pattering down the stairs and gently told her to slow down. "It's only 8 o'clock. You're up early, little one. Come, you have to eat an egg in the morning," he said softly, handing her a freshly peeled egg. The senior executives of the Su Corporation were stunned. The king of hell could actually peel an egg, and his tone was so gentle. Suddenly, Su Yichen turned back to the camera, his face stern. "Are you all mute? Where is the plan for the second quarter?" The executives quickly scrambled to present their plans. Soon Subao had finished her breakfast, and Su Yichen had efficiently ended his meeting. And so Subao, with a bird's nest on her head, went with her big uncle to the Tang Dynasty Grandeur grand opening. When he was about to help her out of the car, she finally realized she had a bird's nest on her head and pointed to her hair. Su Yichen comforted her. "It's fine, just smooth it down." He reached out and smoothed the stray hairs on top of her head, but this only made it messier. Seeing her little face scrunch up, he continued to comfort her. "Then, how about your big uncle ties it for you?" Subao quickly pulled 2 small hair ties from her little purse, not forgetting to tell him she wanted 2 little pigtails. "Oh," he nodded. 5 minutes later, a layer of sweat had formed on his forehead. His suit jacket was off, his sleeves were rolled up, and his tie was thrown over his shoulder. Subao felt like her butt was going numb. Was he not done yet? A minute later, he gave up and finally managed to tie her hair. She reached up to touch it, but he grabbed her hand. "Don't touch it. You'll mess it up." The driver in the front seat couldn't bear to look. The little miss was so happy, completely unaware that she had been sabotaged by her own uncle. Because Su Yichen had been busy with her hair, the car hadn't moved, and the cars behind them had to wait. As luck would have it, the car behind them was the Lan family's. Shueyer's mother felt a little uneasy since they had stolen their invitation, but the thought of all the important people who would be there today, a great opportunity for their family, reassured her. Shueyer's father suggested they suck up to Mr. Su when they saw him, because everyone likes a flatterer. So the family got out of the car first. Seeing the reporters snapping pictures of her, Shueyer felt like a little princess. The dress she had chosen today was perfect. She was definitely the prettiest child here. Just then, the car door in front of them opened. Shueyer said sweetly, "Hello, Uncle Su." Her parents also greeted him. Su Yichen frowned at her, but didn't even acknowledge her. He then bent down and held out a hand to the person inside the car. Shueyer's mother felt a bit embarrassed. Her husband comforted her, saying maybe he hadn't heard them. The reporters, seeing his gesture, excitedly raised their cameras. Were they about to see the rumored Mrs. Su? The next moment, a little girl in a doll-like dress jumped into his arms. Everyone was stunned for a moment. Then, Su Yichen, holding the child with one arm, strode into the venue. Hearing everyone call out, "Little cutie, look here!" Subao suddenly made a cute face at the camera. It instantly captured the hearts of all the reporters. Shueyer, left behind, was annoyed. It was Subao again, stealing her spotlight. "Subao, why is your hair so ugly? Did you tie it yourself? Do you want me to help you? I've been tying my own hair since I was 3. Subao touched the 2 pigtails on her head and said angrily, "Your hair is ugly!" Shueyer's mother, seeing her get upset, quickly put on a smile. "Subao, your hair is a little messy." Her father also chuckled. "Yeah, who tied your hair? It looks like a bird's nest." But then they heard Su Yichen say coldly, "I tied her hair. Do you have a problem with that?" The smiles on their faces froze. Su Yichen was who he was. How could he possibly tie a child's hair? Su Yichen immediately had his assistant escort the Lan family out, as he clearly remembered they were not on the guest list. The family had just entered when the assistant asked for their invitation. Shueyer's father explained that the Tsai family couldn't make it, so they were there on their behalf. He said Mr. Su didn't know, so there was a misunderstanding, and he would go explain it to him. The assistant was taken aback. He looked at the invitation. It was indeed for the Si family. While he was distracted, Shueyer's father grabbed his wife and daughter and slipped into the venue. Meanwhile, backstage, a staff member was showing Master Yun the setup. He looked around and finally pointed out that the ceremonial ball for the ribbon cutting needed to be moved 1 inch to the east to align with the auspicious time of the stars. The staff member nodded and immediately had someone do it. Besides, a ribbon cutting was simple. With him there, nothing could go wrong. Just then, Subao and Su Yichen passed by and saw the ball being moved. Subao, feeling uncomfortable with the asymmetry, casually asked why they were moving the ball. Su Yichen glanced at it. It was indeed asymmetrical. He told his assistant to have them move it back. Ji-chang, floating behind them, was delighted. His little disciple was incredible. She could sense something was wrong without even knowing anything. He was about to teach her a few more tricks, but Subao was staring intently at the cakes nearby and couldn't hear him at all. Just as Subao was about to ask for a small cake, she suddenly noticed a pale-faced woman floating in the corner of the 2 rest areas in the main hall. Ji-chang followed her gaze. It was another evil spirit. He dragged the cake-eating Subao over. "Little Subao, let's go check it out." The disciple complained that the organizers hadn't even prepared a proper VIP room for them, but Master Yun was more philosophical. Since they were in the bustling city, they should maintain a calm and detached mindset. Chang Feng nodded, outwardly agreeing with his master's lesson, but inwardly sneering. He wondered who it was that had accepted a bank card from old Mrs. C just yesterday. Just then, a bald uncle saw Master Yun and excitedly went over to introduce himself as Huang Defa, showering him with compliments. At the same time, the Lan family, who had forced their way in, were networking, exchanging business cards with various high society figures. Suddenly, Shueyer's mother pointed in Master Yun's direction. "It's Master Yun! Let's go!" Her husband looked over. So this was the great master who had brought the Si family's young master back from the brink of death. She had heard a rumor that whatever you asked of Master Yun, he would grant. She never thought she would see him here. This was their chance. Suppressing their excitement, they rushed over, pushed aside the people in front of them, and started handing him business cards and pouring him tea. Then, Shueyer's mother deliberately mentioned that she had been chatting with old Mrs. Si yesterday and had learned of his great power in saving the young master. And today, they were representing the Si family, and the old lady had specifically asked them to thank him if they saw him. He then looked at Shueyer. This child's facial features and destiny are a perfect match for the young Master Si. It is a match made in heaven. If they can be together, both will surely soar to great heights. Her words thrilled the couple. If they could marry into the Si family, they would be set for life. The bald uncle enthusiastically started chatting with them. Just then, a staff member brought over incense and paper money. Shueyer pretended to be innocent and asked what they were for. Master Yun pointed to the stage outside. "These are for the opening ceremony." But as he looked up, he saw that the ceremonial ball that had been moved an inch to the east was now back in its original position. The staff member explained that a high-level leader had ordered it to be moved. "I don't care what high-level leader it is. Since you invited my master here, you should respect his arrangements." Chang Feng scolded the staff member. "I was the one who had it moved. Do you have a problem with that?" A cold voice came from behind him. Seeing it was Su Yichen, the disciple instantly backed down. At the same time, Subao had found the evil spirit she had been looking for. It was now jumping back and forth on Shueyer and Master Yun's heads. "Master, look, the evil spirit is over there. There are too many people now, it's not a good time to capture it. It hasn't found a host yet, so let's ignore it for now." With nothing to do, Subao walked up to Changfeng. "Hey you! You said you would do a handstand and eat 10 pounds of poop yesterday. Did you do it?" "I asked my brother Huan, and he said 10 pounds of poop is about this big a bucket. You're so amazing, you can eat that much." "Nonsense. How could anyone eat that much?" Changfeng realized what he had said and quickly covered his mouth. Subao looked at him with admiration. "So you really did eat it? You're so amazing?" Master Yun, seeing Subao, was furious and scolded her. "So young and speaking so vulgarly. What has become of you?" Subao nodded in agreement. Yes, a very big become of you. Did you eat it too, Mr. Fraud?" Ji-Chang couldn't help but chuckle. How could his little disciple be so cute? He retorted coldly that her facial features indicated she was a cursed star. Subao bit her lip. "Subao is very lucky." "That's right. Our Subao is our little lucky charm," Su Yichen said, his face like ice, as he asked who had invited these two frauds. "Call the police and have them arrested." The great master, who had been hired for a hefty sum, was now demanding to leave, all because a little brat had called him a fraud. The other guests quickly tried to placate him, saying it wasn't necessary to call the police, that Master Yun was a good person who had just been telling them their fortunes, and that they should all just let it go. Just then, Shueyer suddenly grabbed Master Yun's sleeve, and with a sincere expression told him not to be angry, that Subao was just a child and didn't mean to call him a fraud. She then looked at Subao and said anxiously, "Subao, that's not right. You should apologize to Master Yun." Their inner thoughts finally caused the phony ghost that had been jumping back and forth to settle on Hueyer's head. Su Yichen sneered and asked Shueyer, "What right do you have to ask Subao to apologize?" Shueyer was stunned. She looked at his icy face and was on the verge of tears. "I just don't want everyone to fight." Her mother also chimed in, defending her. Su Yichen was annoyed. He didn't understand how such a young child could be so phony. Ji-Chang, watching the peacemakers, had a mischievous glint in his eye. He told Subao to ask Master Yun if he was so great. Could he predict his own fortune? When Master Yun heard her question, he frowned. A doctor can't heal himself, and a fortune teller can't see his own fate. Don't you know that? Subao shook her head. Subao is just a child. So if you can't predict it, then you're not that great after all. And you know better? If you're so good, you do it. Master Yun was so angry he forgot all about his immortal demeanor and turned to leave. But Shueyer's father grabbed his arm and, trying to be helpful, suggested he just do it to show everyone how great he was. With no other choice, he reluctantly pinched his fingers together for a moment and then said he would encounter some minor trouble. But since he was an upright person, it would be nothing serious. Subao shook her head and pulled an old turtle from her little purse. Master, you're wrong. Let me predict it for you. With a hey, she tossed the bewildered old turtle. It spun a few times and then stopped at her feet. She said in surprise, so that's how it is. Master, you're in for some great luck. You'll have free meals for life. The little brother who eats poop won't be so lucky, he'll only get 10 years. Changfeng knew she was talking about jail time and was furious. His master was a great immortal. Even the leaders at the police station had invited him for consultations. But just then, several police officers walked in. Are you Master Yun? Come with us. Changfeng was stunned. He yelled, do you know who my master is? Your master is Yun Longkun. After graduating from elementary school, he worked in an electronics factory for 5 years, then was sentenced to 2 years for theft. After he got out, he set up a fortune-telling stand and scammed an old woman out of 50,000 yuan of her life savings. And now he's still swindling people? Take them away. The guests were stunned. They had just been sucking up to a fraud. They felt like such idiots. Seeing everyone's changed expressions and his carefully constructed reputation about to be ruined, Master Yun tried to use the C family's name to intimidate the officers, saying he had just saved their young master yesterday. He did not save Yiran. In fact, I should be asking Master Lin about the bank card he scammed from my mother yesterday. With that, Master Yun's heart went cold. The next moment, the police handcuffed both him and his disciple and led them away. Xueyer's parents were also extremely embarrassed. Seeing Siye walk by, they quickly went to greet him, but he pretended not to see them. He then apologized to Su Yichen, explaining that the two of them must have taken the invitation from his house without anyone noticing, which was why they had shown up pretending to represent the C family. Su Yichen said that he had already told someone to kick them out and that he didn't know why they were still there. The guests watched them go, their feelings a complicated mix. They all turned to look at Xueyer's parents. If it weren't for them so confidently claiming that Master Yun had saved the Sai family's young master, they wouldn't have been so fawning, and they wouldn't all have ended up looking like fools. He then coldly asked who had been on reception duty and had let the Lan family in. His aura was terrifying. The staff member stammered that they had forced their way in, claiming to be there on behalf of the C family. The Lan family had come to network and boost their status, but they had ended up being publicly humiliated and kicked out. Xueyer's eyes welled with tears as she looked at Si Yiran. Master Yun had just said they were a match made in heaven. Why were they being thrown out now? But Si Yiran just stood there with a cold expression, not even glancing at her, his eyes fixed on Subao. Subao, however, was staring at the top of Xueyer's head, because the evil spirit had followed her out. After the chaos, the auspicious time for the ribbon cutting had long passed. A smooth start was very important for a company's grand opening. The staff member nervously asked Su Yichen what they should do. As everyone was racking their brains, Subao looked up and comforted her uncle, telling him not to worry, that she could help him divine a time. She then pinched her fingers together, imitating Ji Chang, and said, "At 10:18, auspicious light will descend from the heavens. That is a lucky time." The others thought she was just a child playing around. But Su Yichen turned to the staff and said that the auspicious time would be 10:18 as Subao had said. He believed her. At the ceremony, Subao sat sipping from her water bottle, her eyes on Si Yiran as he walked over. "Little brother, come sit here," she said happily, waving him over. He just gave a cool, in response. Siya watched as his son walked over with his arms and legs moving in sync. He hadn't been like that this morning. Was it some side effect of his soul leaving his body? Subao also watched him curiously. He walked strangely and sat so upright like a little adult. Sensing her gaze, Si Yiran shyly took a candy from his pocket and handed it to her. "Is this for me?" she asked. He nodded. She looked at the candy in his palm. "Little brother, did you bring this candy just for me?" "No, I just grabbed it at the door," he said, turning his head away, his face red. "Oh," she said, and then quickly snatched the candy. She glanced at her big uncle and, seeing he wasn't looking, popped it into her mouth. She then pretended nothing had happened, sat up straight with her hands on her knees and stared ahead. Si Yiran finally came to his senses and asked, "Is it good?" She put a finger to her lips and whispered, "If my big uncle finds out, I'll never get to eat candy again." He looked at Su Yichen and then asked in a low voice, "Are you afraid of your big uncle?" "I'm not afraid. It's because I have a cavity, and my big uncle and grandma won't let me eat candy." "Then you shouldn't eat it." She immediately covered her mouth. Once it was in her mouth, there was no spitting it out. Si Yiran's mouth twitched. "You mean there's no spitting it out?" She nodded. "Candy is so sweet. I love candy. If they find out, I'll just have to swallow it." "Why do you like candy so much?" he asked. She instinctively hugged her water bottle. "Because it's sweet. Life is bitter, but candy is sweet." He was stunned. It was hard to believe those words had come from her. Then he heard her say that before, when her stepmom would hit her and her father wouldn't listen to her, she had felt so sad. Then she had found a piece of candy under the sofa. She had been so hungry, and she had never forgotten how sweet that candy was. On stage, the host was still rambling on. In the audience, the bald uncle was getting excited. If there really was auspicious light, he was willing to bet the few remaining hairs on his head. The people next to him chuckled. Mr. Huang was so bold. Finally, it was almost 10:18. The host invited Mr. Su of the Su Corporation to the stage for the ribbon cutting. Subao clapped enthusiastically. "I'll be the one to spoil my big uncle." Su Yichin turned and patted her head. "Stay here with Uncle Kuxiang and don't run off." To prove she wouldn't, she grabbed the assistant Kuxiang's arm. He smiled at the adorable little girl and promised to take good care of her. Su Yichin went on stage, said a few words, and then, along with the main organizers, picked up a pair of golden scissors and stood in front of the ribbon. With a pop of a confetti cannon, the scissors snipped the red ribbon. At that exact moment, the stage, with the ceremonial ball at its center, was bathed in a 7-colored auspicious light. The audience gasped in disbelief, staring at the stage. They then realized that the sunlight was shining through the stained glass roof of the venue and onto the stage. The man who had sworn to go bald muttered that it was impossible, that it must have been planned, but there were no signs of it being man-made. He took out his phone. It was exactly 10:18. If it was a coincidence, how could it be so precise? Had she really predicted it? If she had really predicted it, then the Su family's little princess was a true lucky charm. Finally, the ribbon cutting was over. After the host's thank you speech, big shots like Su Yichin and Siye were surrounded by the media for interviews. Siye whispered to Si Yiran to watch over his little sister Subao. Si Yiran just nodded blankly. Siye was speechless. Subao pulled Kuxiang toward the dessert table. Si Yiran followed coolly behind her, his hands behind his back. Seeing the little cakes, she stood on her tiptoes to reach them, but she was too short. Kuxiang was about to help her, but Si Yiran had already gotten one and handed it to her. She happily took the cake and sat down on a sofa, taking a big bite. So sweet, sweeter than a first love. Kuxiang chuckled. "Do you even know what a first love is?" She mumbled through a mouthful of cake. "No, but the grandpa who sells watermelons always says that." She then imitated the old man. "Come and get it. Fresh watermelons, sweeter than a first love. Eat my watermelon and forget about him." Kuxiang burst out laughing. She was too cute. Si Yiran turned his head. Just then, she asked Kuxiang why his name was Qixiang. Did it mean he had made 7 sounds when he was born? He wiped the cream from the corner of her mouth and said, "It's Kuxiang, not Qixiang. Ku." Si Yiran, hearing her ask what Qiyiku was, couldn't help but interject that it was Chinese pinyin. But then she asked, "What's pinyin?" He was speechless. Had this girl never been to kindergarten? Kuxiang had to explain that she would learn about it when she started school. She nodded. So school could make you so smart. School was great. She wanted to go to school too. Just then, Si Yiran saw that she had finished her cake and immediately went back to the dessert table. Her eyes lit up when he brought her another one. Little brother is the best. After eating and drinking her fill, she sighed contentedly. Going to work with her big uncle was great. So she could have cake every day, she decided she would come to work every day from now on. Kuxiang teased her. "Didn't you just say you wanted to go to school?" She paused. That's right. How could she go to work if she had to go to school? After thinking about it, she said seriously, "I'll go to school from Monday to Friday and work on Saturdays and Sundays." He couldn't help but laugh. She was so dedicated. As they were chatting happily, several wealthy socialites approached them. Subao was happily eating her little cake when a high-pitched voice said, "Hello, little one. What's your name?" "My name is Su Zisu, but you can call me Subao." "Su Zisu?" the woman repeated, thinking what a strange name. Subao frowned and looked to the little brother for help. Si Yiran, with a cool expression, taught her, "It's U-Su-I-Z-U-Su. Su Zisu, got it?" The little girl looked at the auntie in front of her with pity, thinking she must not have gone to school either and didn't know pinyin. The socialite just smiled. "You're so cute, Subao." But Subao asked with a serious expression if she had something stuck in her throat, because her voice sounded so unpleasant. Was she sick and couldn't speak properly? The socialite's face stiffened, but the people around them were secretly delighted. Just then, Sulo, with his hair slicked back, walked over. Subao quickly stuffed the last bite of cake into her mouth. He raised an eyebrow and chuckled. "What is our Subao secretly eating?" She shook her head vigorously. She wasn't secretly eating anything. He reached out and wiped the cream from her lips. "You little rascal, you're caught." She widened her eyes, thinking she had to remember to wipe her mouth next time. Just then, Zhou Yu subtly moved a little closer to him. She said in a sweet voice that she could get Subao a couple more cakes. He picked up Subao, and while wiping her mouth said calmly, "No need. If this little one eats any more, her little tummy will burst." Seeing how much he doted on her, Jo-yu immediately pretended to love children. "Subao is so cute. Come, let your big sister give you a hug. Auntie, do you have phlegm stuck in your throat?" The guests all chuckled at her serious little face. Jo-yu was about to explain when Si-yeon said with a deadpan expression, "That's called being pretentious." Sulo glanced at him and then said to Subao, "Understand?" She nodded vigorously. She understood. Jo-yu's face turned red and then pale. She tried to explain to Sulo that she wasn't being pretentious, but he didn't even look at her and just walked away with Subao. The people around them teased, "Kids say the darndest things." Jo-yu watched him go, tears streaming down her face. After leaving the venue, Sulo took Subao to the garden behind it. But when he turned around, he saw Si-yeon silently following them. He explained that his father had told him to watch over Subao. Sulo clicked his tongue. That was strange. When had the Si family's young master become so obedient? It seemed he had to watch this kid. The three of them sat down on a bench. Suluo asked curiously how she knew there would be auspicious light at 10:18. She rummaged through her bag. "I predicted it." She then held up the old turtle. "Fourth uncle, watch closely, I'll show you how it's done." Suluo was stunned. The little girl had actually brought the family's old turtle with her. She wasn't worried it would suffocate in her bag. After being tossed, the old turtle spun a few times and then stopped. Sulo quickly asked what she had predicted this time. She held up a finger and told him seriously, "You're going to have some romantic luck. Be careful not to get caught by a charming little vixen." He covered his face to hide his laughter. "Well, that sounds like trouble." She nodded. "It's very, very big trouble. You're going to be in a lot of trouble, fourth uncle." He decided to change the subject and helped her braid her hair. After all, on set, he sometimes had to do his own hair. Her messy hair was transformed into two beautiful fishtail braids. "Beautiful," he praised. "Thank you, fourth uncle," she giggled happily. Si-yeon glanced at her. Her eyes were curved like crescent moons. So cute. But Sulo caught him. He really had to watch this kid. Just as he was about to say something, he heard a clicking sound. He was very sensitive to cameras. He quickly spotted a reporter hiding in the shadows. "Who's over there taking pictures?" The reporter, terrified, stammered that the scene had been so striking that he couldn't resist taking a picture for an exclusive. Hearing this, Suluo's fierce gaze softened. The Su family's most beloved little princess. The whole world should know about her. He told the reporter that if he was going to take pictures, he should do it properly. Subao was their little princess. Seeing that he wasn't objecting, the reporter's eyes lit up with excitement. He raised his camera and started snapping away at Subao, who obediently made a peace sign and said, "Yay!" Sulo sat beside her, watching her smile brightly at the camera. As long as she was happy, that was all that mattered. He wanted her to live a life that everyone would envy. Just then, the sound of high heels approached. "Mr. Su?" Sulo glanced at her, his heart sinking. Could she be the romance Subao had just predicted? Jo-yu, of course, saw the reporter and deliberately stepped into the shot. She apologized to Suluo, saying she had misspoken earlier. The reporter, although not sure what was going on, sensed that a photo of them together would be the talk of the town for the next week. "Do you dislike me because of my voice, Mr. Su? But this is really my natural voice. If you don't like it, I'll start vocal training today." Sulo just let out a cold laugh. Subao, not understanding, asked Si-yeon, "Is this what you call haunting?" He nodded. "Auntie, you're really haunting," she said to Jo-yu, using her newly learned phrase. Jo-yu never expected her to just say it out loud. In truth, she knew she was disliked, but she was desperate for the publicity. The time, place, and people were all perfect. Once the photos were released, she would definitely become famous. But the next second, she heard Suluo warn the reporter coldly, "If a single photo from today is published, you can imagine what will happen to the rest." The reporter felt a chill run down his spine. But he wanted to try and negotiate. Could he just publish the photos of Miss Subao? This time, Suluo smiled warmly. "That's fine." The reporter immediately understood and looked at Jo-yu strangely. Sulo had no desire to stay any longer. He picked up Subao and at the same time ruffled Si-yeon's hair, leading them away. "Little brother, your hair looks like a bird's nest." Subao giggled. Si-yeon was speechless. The reporter quickly captured the moment. The actor's scandal was a no-go, but he could write about the relationship between the Su and Si families. If the two families really teamed up, the business world in Kyoto would be shaken. The three of them soon returned to the venue and collapsed on a sofa in various poses. Subao even added some drama, talking to her little tummy about how her fourth uncle wasn't giving her anything to eat or drink. How pitiful she was. Suluo glanced at her. She was quite the little actress. As Subao was lounging on the sofa, someone came up to her and asked her to predict when their daughter-in-law would give birth. Another person directly asked her to predict when she would become rich overnight. After a quick divination, Subao told the old woman that her grandson would be born in 3 days. But the old woman frowned and scolded her for talking nonsense. Her daughter-in-law was still 2 months away from her due date. She then turned and left, complaining that Subao had no real ability. How could she be off by 2 months? Unless her son wasn't the father. After she left, Subao, looking confused, asked the other person what rich meant. The woman looked at Su Yichen with admiration and said she just wanted to be richer than him. But Subao told her with a serious expression, "In your dreams, you can have anything." Unsurprisingly, the woman had the same reaction as the old woman and was very unhappy with their prediction. Subao was full of questions. Why had they all left in a huff? Then she heard her fourth uncle say that their behavior was a form of modern superstition. Yiren explained to her that when people have nightmares, they wake up and comfort themselves by saying that dreams are the opposite of reality. If they have a good dream, they think they'll have good luck. A twitching left eye means wealth, while a twitching right eye means disaster. Things like that were called modern superstition. After he finished, he realized she was staring at him. Then he heard her praise him for being so amazing that this was the most he had ever spoken. He shyly turned his head. He had thought she was praising him for knowing so much. Suluo watched the two little ones with a half-smile. After the ceremony was over, Subao, full from all the food, fell asleep in Suluo's arms. The three of them stood at the entrance of the venue, watching the Su family's car drive away. Yiran thought to himself that the next time they met, he would bring her 2 candies. 2 because she liked them, but not 1 more because he was worried about her getting cavities. After seeing Sia's car leave, Tang Tiantian, the owner of Tang Dynasty Grandeur, finally relaxed. He had heard today that Subao had saved Yiran. He wondered if Subao could cure his own mother's illness. As he walked, he instructed his assistant that from now on, whenever Miss Su came, they didn't need to report it. They should just invite the best pastry chef in the city to make cakes on the spot. Then he thought, they should just write down all the flavors Subao didn't like, and all the things she did like in the employee handbook. The assistant wondered if he was serious.